Noah was standing at the kitchen island with my coffee in one hand and his phone in the other when he said, "I got an email about you." He used the careful voice people use before telling you there's a dent in your car. I set down my bag. From who? No name. Some account with a bunch of numbers. He turned the screen toward me. The subject line said, "You deserve to know." Most of the message was visible without scrolling. Your wife doesn't leave when she's angry. She gets quiet and makes a plan. Ask her about the furnished apartments. Ask her what she meant when she said your marriage was another house where everybody waited for her to carry the heavy end. My stomach dropped so fast I had to grip the counter. Noah watched my face. Elise? I took the phone and scrolled. Whatever she tells you, don't leave the porch light on. For a moment, our refrigerator hummed louder than anything in the room. Noah asked what the sentence meant, but I couldn't answer. I was back in my parents' dark hallway 20 years younger, barefoot on cold tile, listening for my sister's key against the front door. Only 2 people alive knew those words belonged to us. One of them was me. The other was supposed to love me. 30 hours earlier, my mother had called a family meeting without using the phrase, family meeting, because according to Diane Mercer, formal language made people defensive. Just dinner, she'd said. Your father's grilling. My father grilled whenever my mother needed witnesses. By the time Noah and I pulled into their driveway, Ron was standing over 4 chicken breasts with the grave concentration of a surgeon, moving them from one side of the grill to the other without any visible theory. Marin's silver SUV was parked crooked beside the mailbox. She had left me enough room to get into the driveway, but not enough to do it without performing geometry. "Your sister's here," Noah said. I gathered that from the vehicle blocking both land and sea. He laughed and squeezed my knee before I got out. "Want me to behave? I want you to define behave." No audible sighing, no mentioning the Christmas lasagna. That was 3 years ago. It was frozen in the middle. We ate around it. We mined it. I smiled despite myself. That was one of the useful things about Noah. He could make me laugh before I entered my parents' house, when my body had already begun preparing for work no one had assigned yet. Marin opened the front door before we reached it. At 41, she still had the same theatrical timing she'd had at 16. She wore a loose red blouse, large gold hoops, and the expression of a woman hosting a party in somebody else's house. "There they are," she called, the stable branch of the family. She hugged Noah first, then me, holding on half a second longer than usual. "You smell expensive," I said. "It was a sample. You smell like the whole sample counter. That's because they believe in me." Our mother called from the dining room, "Don't stand in the doorway letting bugs in." Marin leaned close to me. "She's in a mood." She called the meeting. "It's not a meeting." "Right. Dad's just grilling under oath." That got a real laugh out of her. She hooked her arm through mine, and for 3 steps, we were ourselves. The dining table had already been set with the good cloth napkins, which meant the evening was serious but not tragic. Tragic involved paper plates because my mother didn't believe grief and laundry should occur on the same day. Diane sat at the head of the table with a folder beside her water glass. She was 67, silver-haired, well-dressed, and irritated by any suggestion that her body might operate independently of her plans. Her right knee had been bothering her for years. She referred to the pain as the situation, as if naming the joint would encourage it. Dad came in carrying the chicken, wearing an apron that said, "Kiss the cook," and an expression that warned us not to try. "Everything's a little charred," he said. "That's flavor." "That's carbon," Noah said. Dad pointed the tongs at him. "You want to take over?" "No, sir." "Then it's flavor." We ate salad and charred chicken while Mom asked about Noah's office, Marin's salon, and whether my company was still making everybody work from home, even though I had explained at least 6 times that I went in 3 days a week. Marin told a story about a client who had tried to cut her own bangs after drinking 2 margaritas. Dad laughed hard enough to cough. Mom told him to slow down. He said he wasn't eating. She told him to slow down anyway. Then she placed her fork across her plate. "My surgery is scheduled for the 14th. There it was. I looked at the calendar hanging beside the kitchen doorway, although I didn't need to. Noah and I were leaving on the 15th for our anniversary trip to Asheville. That's sooner than they expected, I said. They had a cancellation, Mom said. Dr. Levin thinks I should take it. You should, Noah said. No point spending another 3 months hurting. Exactly. She gave him a grateful smile. I knew you'd understand. Marin reached across the table and touched Mom's wrist. Are you scared? It was the right question. Marin was gifted at the right question. She could walk into a room after everyone else had stacked chairs, swept the floor, paid the bill, and asked the one question that made her look like the only person who had noticed anyone was tired. Mom's face softened. A little. Oh, Mom, I'll be fine. You don't have to be brave with us. Across the table, Noah caught my eye. I looked down before either of us smiled. Dad got up to refill his iced tea, though his glass was still mostly full. So, Mom said, opening the folder. They gave me all this information. Most of it is written by people who assume I have a medical degree. I pulled the papers closer. It's the standard discharge packet. I can read the words, Elise. I know. I'm saying there are a lot of them. There were instructions for fasting, medication, physical therapy, showering, swelling, warning signs, and equipment. I read while everyone else resumed eating. By the time Dad offered pie, I had made notes in the margins and a list on the back of an envelope. You'll probably come home the same day, I said. Dad can drive. I'll meet you here and get you settled. We should move the side table so the walker fits. What walker? Mom asked. The one they'll give you. I am not walking through my house with a walker. You can glide regally behind it. Elise. For a few days, Mom. Marin took the envelope from me. Okay, I can stay here. The first few nights, at least. I looked at her. Really? She gave me an offended little frown. Yes, really. Great. That solves most of it. I said I'd help. I'm agreeing with you. You sounded surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. There's no pleasant way to say that. Noah drank his water. Mom pressed 2 fingers to her temple. Could we please not start? We're not starting anything, I said. Marin pushed the envelope back to me. Tell me what you need. It was so easy to want to believe her. I began dividing the week. I would take Thursday and Friday. Marin would stay Friday through Monday nights. Dad could handle mornings, meals, and driving after that. A home health aide could come for a few hours on the days Dad needed a break. Mom had already checked that her insurance covered several visits, though she acted as if allowing a professional into the house would be a personal failure. You're still going on your trip? She asked. The question was mild, almost curious. We leave Friday afternoon, I said, the day after surgery. I'll be here all day Friday. We're driving, so if something serious happens, we can turn around. Dad cleared his throat. Nobody's asking you to cancel. No, I said. I'm just explaining the plan. Of course you should go, Mom said. It's your anniversary. The sentence should have ended there. Instead, she glanced toward Marin and added, We'll manage somehow. Marin sat up straighter. I just said I'd be here. I know, sweetheart. No one at that table would have been able to explain why sweetheart sounded like an apology. Noah folded his napkin. It sounds like you have plenty of help. Ron's here. Marin's staying. The aide can fill in. Mom smiled at him, but the gratitude from earlier had cooled. Yes, we're very resourceful when we have to be. I reached beneath the table and touched Noah's leg, a warning and a thank you at the same time. After dinner, Marin and I cleared the dishes while Mom showed Noah photographs of a patio she wanted Dad to build. Dad stood beside them saying things like, That's not to scale, though no one had claimed it was. Marin handed me a plate with a streak of barbecue sauce across it. So you're really going, she said. That's the plan. I think you should. Thank you. I do. I'm just making sure you understand that Friday night might be rough. I do. And if she reacts badly to the medication, we'll leave when she's stable. She scraped another plate. Must be nice. I turned from the sink. What must be nice? To be able to leave. You're the one who offered to stay. I know. I'm saying I don't get trips like that. You went to Savannah in April. That was with 11 women from work. That wasn't a romantic trip. You posted a picture from a champagne bicycle. It had pedals. It was exhausting. I laughed, but she didn't. Then her face changed, quick as a light being switched. I'm teasing. God, you still take everything literally. She bumped her hip against mine and asked if I had any lipstick in my purse. That was Marin's particular magic. She could put a needle into you and make you feel humorless for bleeding. The following afternoon, she called me while I was buying the raised toilet seat Mom had declared unnecessary. I have a problem, she said. I stared at the display of gray plastic medical equipment. How large? Trevor booked the lake house for his birthday, the weekend of Mom's surgery. He booked it months ago. I had the dates wrong. You put the surgery dates into your phone at dinner. I know when the surgery is. I had his birthday weekend wrong. Is Trevor aware of his birthday? Elise, don't. I closed my eyes. A store employee pushed a cart behind me stacked with packages of adult bed pads. Somewhere nearby, a machine announced that assistance was needed in plumbing. What are you telling me? I asked. I can stay Friday night, maybe. But I need to leave Saturday morning. You promised. Through Monday. Before I remembered. You promised yesterday. I can't blow up my relationship every time this family needs something. I almost admired the sentence. It was exactly true and completely useless in her mouth. Then call Mom, I said. Silence. Elise. You need to tell her. You know how she'll react. Yes. And you're okay putting me in that position? I didn't book the lake house. Her voice sharpened. This is what you do. You get very calm and suddenly everybody else sounds unreasonable. I looked down at the toilet seat in my cart. I'm not canceling my trip. I didn't ask you to. You called because you wanted me to offer. I called because I thought we could figure it out together. We did. Dad and the aide can handle the rest. You know she doesn't want a stranger there. That doesn't make me the only other option. Marin breathed into the phone for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was soft. This doesn't sound like you. That landed exactly where she meant it to. Who does it sound like? I'm not trying to fight. Say it, Marin. She hesitated. It sounds like Noah. I stood in the middle of the pharmacy aisle with one hand clenched around the cart. No, I said. It sounds like me after I finally heard myself. She hung up first. The anonymous email reached Noah the next morning. And when he turned his phone toward me in our kitchen, Marin's last words were still fresh enough that I could hear them beneath every line. Then I reached the final sentence. Don't leave the porch light on. Noah asked, What does that mean? I looked at the furnished apartment accusation, at the private words I had trusted to my sister during the worst year of my marriage, and understood that Marin had not merely complained about me. She had opened a door into my life and invited my husband to wonder what else I kept behind it. It means she wrote it. Noah didn't answer immediately. He took the phone back and read the last line again, as if the words might rearrange themselves into somebody else's betrayal. You're sure? Yes. Could anyone have heard you two say it? No? Your parents? They knew about the porch light, they didn't know the phrase. He looked at me. When Marin and I still lived at home, she'd call if she was coming in late. Leave the porch light on. It meant I should stay awake and unlock the deadbolt before Dad heard her. If she'd been drinking, it meant I should get water into her and make sure she was in bed before Mom woke up. If she'd told them she was staying with me, it meant I needed to remember that was our story. You covered for her. We covered for each other. The answer came too quickly. I heard it after it was out. Noah did too. Did she ever leave it on for you? I crossed my arms. That's not the point. I'm trying to understand. The point is that she used it because she thought you wouldn't recognize it. She wanted it to sound like some insightful metaphor. Well, it worked. I stared at him. He put the phone down. That came out wrong. No, I think it came out exactly right. I mean, it got your attention. It told you who sent it. It got your attention first. Elise. What? He rubbed the back of his neck. His coffee sat cooling beside him. Did you look at furnished apartments? There are questions you can hear approaching and still not prepare for. The room seemed to narrow around the island. You believe her. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. I'm asking about one specific thing in a message that contains specific things. Sent anonymously by my sister, because I wouldn't cancel a trip. If Marin wrote this, yes, that's vicious. But she didn't invent that phrase about carrying the heavy end, did she? I grabbed my bag from the stool, though I had nowhere to go. I said it during one of the worst weeks of my life. To her? Yes. Not to me. You weren't speaking to me. I lived here. You existed here. That was different. His face changed, not dramatically. Noah had never been a dramatic man. The small stillness was worse. 4 years earlier, the consulting company where he worked had eliminated his department with 11 minutes' notice and a cardboard box. For the first month, he applied for jobs, reorganized the garage, and made ambitious dinners that required ingredients we had never owned. Then the interviews stopped producing offers. The dinners became sandwiches. The garage filled up again. He slept late because he wasn't sleeping at night. I woke him with questions about bills, repairs, groceries, and whether he had called his mother. He heard judgment in every question. I heard indifference in every silence. We could turn the loading of a dishwasher into an argument about whether our marriage had been a clerical error. One night, after he went to bed without saying goodnight, I sat at the dining table and looked at furnished apartments on my laptop. I wanted a place containing nothing anyone had asked me to choose. A bed, a lamp, 2 plates. I saved 6 listings in a folder and stared at them until almost 3 in the morning. Then I called Marin. I looked. I told Noah. I didn't visit one. I didn't contact anyone. I looked. For how long? 1 night. And you saved them? My eyes burned. You're quoting the email now. I'm asking you. Yes, I saved them. Why furnished? Because in my imaginary nervous breakdown, I didn't want to go couch shopping. He looked away, but not before I saw the laugh try to happen. Under any other circumstances, I might have loved him for it. I set my bag down again. I deleted the folder the next morning. Why didn't you tell me? Because by then I knew I wasn't leaving. That's not an answer. It is an answer, you just don't like it. No, I don't. Apparently my wife once got far enough into imagining life without me that she compared rent and furniture, and the person who knows is Marin. She knew because she answered the phone. I would have answered. You were 10 feet away, Noah. You hadn't answered me in months. He flinched. I regretted the sentence and meant it completely. Our kitchen had been remodeled before we bought the house, all pale counters and quiet close drawers. It was designed so nothing slammed. I had always thought that was a feature. That morning, it felt dishonest. Noah picked up his coffee, discovered it was cold, and poured it into the sink. What else did you tell her? He asked. I don't know. It was 4 years ago. You remember the apartment listings. I remember those because they were in the email you just handed me. You remember the heavy end comment. Because I said it. About us? About everyone? That's not better. I didn't say it was. He braced both hands on the counter. I'm trying very hard not to make Marin's behavior the reason we don't talk about what she exposed. And I'm trying very hard not to notice that her plan is working. What plan? To make you question me. To make my refusal to cancel this trip look like part of some secret pattern. She thinks if you stop backing me, I'll go take care of Mom. I'm not going to tell you to cancel. No. You're just going to stare at me like I've had 1 foot out the door for 4 years. I'm staring at you like I found out there was a door. I picked up his phone again. I read the message from the beginning, forcing myself through each sentence. Your wife doesn't leave when she's angry. She gets quiet and makes a plan. Marin knew that I got quiet because she had spent our whole lives depending on it. When she forgot Mom's birthday lunch, I quietly ordered flowers and put both our names on the card. When she arrived 2 hours late to help clear the basement, I quietly gave her the box of photographs because she liked photographs and handed Noah the moldy camping equipment. When she promised Christmas lasagna and brought us a frozen brick, I quietly turned the oven back on and made salad. Marin had mistaken the silence that protected her for evidence that I was dangerous. Or maybe she hadn't mistaken it at all. I opened the message details. The sender was Porchlight4172 from a free email service. She had actually put the phrase in the address. She wanted me to know, I said. Noah came around the island. Maybe. No. Look at this. He studied the address. That's not an accident, I said. She wanted anonymity from you, not from me. Why? So I'd understand what she could do. Saying it made me feel theatrical. Marin was careless, impulsive, and occasionally cruel, but she wasn't a movie villain. She probably hadn't sat in a dark room designing psychological warfare. She had likely created the account while watching television, angry and righteous, believing she was correcting an imbalance. That was worse in its own way. Ruining my morning had fit comfortably between other tasks. I took a screenshot and sent it to her with one word. Why? The message showed delivered. Noah and I stood beside each other, watching 3 dots appear. They vanished. Appeared again. Vanished. Then my phone rang. Mom. Don't answer, Noah said. If I don't, she'll call again. That's allowed. You say that because you've never heard the second voicemail. I answered. Hi, Mom. Are you busy? I looked at Noah. Not particularly. I spoke to your sister. Did you? She is very upset. Of course she was. Marin could throw a glass at a wall and somehow be the first person cut. What did she tell you? I asked. That you're refusing to help after my surgery. I'm taking 2 days off work. She said you told her dad and some stranger can handle the rest. The stranger is a licensed aide whose number is in your discharge folder. You know what I mean. I know exactly what you mean. Mom sighed. It was not her regular sigh. This one came from the special collection reserved for my failures of tone. I don't want this surgery causing problems between you girls. It didn't. Then what is going on? On the other side of the island, Noah shook his head. Don't do this by phone. I ignored him. Did Marin mention sending my husband an anonymous email about me? The silence lasted 3 full seconds. Then Mom said, What kind of email? I don't know, Mom. What kinds are there? Don't be sarcastic. She told Noah I've been secretly preparing to leave him. What? She included private things I told her years ago and made them sound current. Then she sent it from a fake address. That doesn't sound like Marin. I laughed once. I couldn't help it. I'm serious, Mom said. Are you certain it was her? She used a phrase only she and I know. Well, call her and ask before making an accusation. I did call. She didn't answer. Marin is working. So am I. You're standing in your kitchen. I looked down at my blouse and work shoes, at the bag I had picked up twice without leaving. How would you know where I'm standing? She said you texted her. There it was. Marin hadn't had time to answer me, but she'd had time to call Mom and establish herself as the injured party. Noah held out his hand for the phone. I moved away. Mom, did she tell you what she did? She said she sent Noah a message because she was concerned. Anonymous. I don't know anything about that. You just said she admitted sending it. I said she sent a message. From a fake account. Elise, I'm having surgery in less than 2 weeks. I cannot be dragged into a fight over email. You called me. To discuss the care schedule. The one Marin changed. She made a mistake with the dates, and I'm supposed to pay for it. No one said that. No one ever said it. That was the genius of my family. They could move the weight onto my back 1 careful ounce at a time, then look offended when I asked who had handed it to me. Mom lowered her voice. Could we all sit down tonight and speak like adults? You, Dad, Marin, Noah, and me? If Noah needs to be there. He received the email. I think that qualifies him. Noah gave me a look I couldn't read. 6 o'clock, Mom said. I'm not serving dinner. I don't think anyone's expecting chicken. She hung up. A text from Marin arrived almost immediately. You are blowing this so far out of proportion. I showed it to Noah. He read it, handed the phone back, and went upstairs without saying anything. I found him 10 minutes later in our bedroom, changing out of his work clothes. He put on jeans and the blue button-down I liked, as if dressing carefully could keep the evening from becoming ugly. "You don't have to come," I said. "Yes, I do. You're angry with me. I'm angry with several people. I contain multitudes." Despite everything, I smiled. He sat on the edge of the bed to tie his shoes. "But we are going to talk about the apartment listings again. I know. And the rest of that year. I know. Not tonight." I nodded. He looked up at me. "I don't want your sister deciding what happens inside our marriage. Neither do I. That includes letting our anger at her become a way around this conversation. The fairness of it irritated me more than blame would have. At 6, we pulled into my parents' driveway. Marin's SUV was parked straight this time, neatly inside the lines of the concrete. She opened the door before we knocked. Her eyes moved from me to Noah and back again. She looked pale, furious, and frightened. I held up my phone. "Leave the porch light on?" I said. Marin's face answered before her mouth could. Marin stepped back from the door. "You're really going to do this on the porch? You chose the porch." Her eyes flashed. "Keep your voice down. No one's outside. Mrs. Keller is always outside." Mrs. Keller's curtains were closed across the street, but Marin lowered her voice anyway. Even in crisis, she remained aware of an audience. Noah put a hand lightly against my back. "Can we go in?" Marin moved aside without looking at him. Mom had arranged us in the living room. She and Dad sat on the sofa. 2 chairs had been pulled from the dining room and placed opposite them, leaving the upholstered armchair by the window for Marin. It looked less like a family conversation than a job interview conducted by people who already disliked the applicant. The surgery folder sat on the coffee table. Dad stood when we entered. "Can I get anybody something?" "No," Mom said. "I was asking everybody." "No, thank you," Noah said. I sat in one of the dining chairs. Noah took the other. Marin remained standing near the fireplace, arms folded. Mom looked at her. "Sit down, please. I'm fine. You're making me nervous. I'm not doing anything." "Then sit while you're not doing it." Marin dropped into the armchair. Dad settled beside Mom and rubbed both palms over his thighs. "All right, let's just talk this out." He had spent most of his life believing conflict was a tangled garden hose. If everyone stopped pulling and behaved reasonably, it would straighten itself. Mom turned to me. "You said Marin sent Noah an anonymous email." "I didn't send an anonymous email," Marin said. I unlocked my phone. "The address is Porchlight 4172. I didn't hide that it was me. You didn't sign your name. I used a phrase you would recognize. You sent it to my husband. I knew he'd show you." Noah leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "Then why not text me?" Marin finally looked at him. "Would you have listened?" "I'm listening now." "No, you're waiting for me to stop talking so you can defend her." His expression barely changed. "That's a convenient thing to say to anyone who disagrees with you. See?" "Marin," Dad said, "just explain what you were trying to accomplish." She tucked her hair behind one ear. Her fingers shook, which made me angrier than if she'd looked pleased with herself. Marin's fear had always been able to enter a room before anyone else's pain. "I was trying to warn him," she said. "About what?" I asked. "About how you are when you decide someone has disappointed you." Mom looked between us. "Could we be more specific?" "She decides things privately," Marin said. "She never tells you there's a problem until she's already built a whole case in her head. I told you there was a problem yesterday, after you made the schedule. The schedule you agreed to. Can we not make everything about the surgery?" I stared at her. "You sent the email because of the surgery." "No, I sent it because of how you talked to me." Dad glanced at Mom, perhaps hoping she had brought translation equipment. Marin turned to Noah. "She makes people feel like there's no room to be human around her. Every mistake gets remembered. Every favor goes on this invisible list. I put your name on Mom's flowers for 4 years," I said. "Exactly." The word stopped me. Marin leaned forward. "You think that makes you generous, but you never once said, 'Hey, I'm tired of covering your part.' You just did it and saved it for later. I'm bringing it up because you accused me of keeping score. You remember how many years? Because I ordered them. Girls, Mom said. We're 41 and 38, I said. You can stop calling us girls when you want us to shut up. Mom's mouth tightened. Marin looked at Noah again. Do you know she saved apartment listings? His shoulders went rigid. I said, don't. I'm asking him. You already asked him anonymously. Did she tell you before this morning? That's between us, Noah said. So no. He stood. You don't get to use something private you learned from my wife to recruit me against her. I wasn't recruiting you. You told me she was planning to leave. I told you she plans exits. You wrote it as if it were happening now. I wrote that she gets quiet. No, I said. You said I don't leave when I'm angry. You made it sound like I'm still looking. Marin threw both hands up. I didn't know if you were. You spoke to me yesterday. You've been different. Because I told you no? Because every conversation now sounds like Noah wrote it for you, Mom murmured. Marin. No, she knows what I mean. She used to care about how choices affected the rest of us. The room went very still. I looked at my sister and saw something I had resisted seeing for years. Her affection for me was real. So was her belief that my love should make me useful. Do you think I stopped caring because I'm taking an anniversary trip? I asked. I think you're making a point. What point? That you don't need us. Dad shifted. Nobody said that. She is, Marin said. She wants Mom to have a stranger in the house so everyone knows she's finally done being taken for granted. The aide is a licensed professional, Noah said. Why are you even in this conversation? Because you emailed me. I emailed you about my sister. She's my wife. And she was my sister before she was your wife. The sentence sounded childish even in a room with no children. Marin seemed to hear it too, because she looked down. Mom reached for her water glass and found nothing there. Dad got up immediately, took the empty glass, and went to the kitchen. None of us spoke while the faucet ran. When he returned, Mom took 2 small sips. I need everybody to lower the temperature, she said. This is not good for me. The phrase was so familiar that I almost laughed. Mom's body had become a guest at the meeting, and all of us were expected to behave around it. Noah sat again. Mom turned to Marin. You should not have sent that message. Marin's eyes filled. I know how it looks. It looks exactly like what you did, I said. Mom raised a hand. I'm speaking. I let her. You involved Noah in something that should have stayed between sisters. You shared information Elise told you privately. That was wrong. Marin nodded. A tear slipped down her cheek. She wiped it away angrily. For one brief, stupid second, relief loosened something in my chest. Then Mom looked at me. But I also think we need to hear what Marin is trying to say. There it was. I sat back. Of course we do. Elise, she feels judged by you. She sent my husband a warning about me. And I just said that was wrong. You said it before the but. There is no but. You literally used the word. Dad leaned forward. Your mother means 2 things can be true. Funny how Marin's truth always arrives wearing mine as a coat. That doesn't even make sense, Marin said. It makes perfect sense, Noah said quietly. Mom's face hardened. I am not choosing sides. You already did. I said Marin was wrong, and now you're explaining why she did it. Would you prefer I call her evil? I'd prefer you let what she did be wrong for longer than 7 seconds. Dad said my name with a warning in it. I turned to him. What? Your mother is about to have major surgery. Her knee isn't listening to this conversation. That's enough. No, it isn't. My voice cracked on the last word. I hated it. I wanted to sound cold and precise, like the person Marin had accused me of being. Instead, I sounded tired. Mom put her water down. This is exactly what I was afraid of. What were you afraid of? That your sister would make a frightened mistake and you would use it to blow up the family 2 weeks before I need everyone. Maren closed her eyes. Noah's hand moved toward mine, but I pulled my fingers into my lap. A frightened mistake, I repeated. She believed she was protecting Noah from me. From being blindsided, Maren said. I turned on her. By an apartment search from 4 years ago? You didn't hear yourself that night. I trusted you. You called me sobbing and said you wanted to disappear. You said he was one more person standing there while you carried everything. What was I supposed to think? You were supposed to think your sister was falling apart and needed someone to answer the phone. And I did. Yes. You did. My throat tightened. You were wonderful that night. Maren's anger faltered. You stayed up with me until 4, I said. You made me delete the listings. You called me the next morning and told me not to make a permanent choice in the middle of temporary pain. I loved you for that. She looked at me, tears shining on her lower lashes. And yesterday, I continued, you took the worst thing I ever trusted you with and sharpened it because I wouldn't take your weekend. That's not why. Then why? She pressed her lips together. Say it, I said. Her eyes went to Noah. He didn't rescue her from the question. Finally, she said, because you always do this. Do what? Make yourself the only safe person, then act like the rest of us trapped you there. The words struck harder because there was truth inside them. I thought of Mom's flowers, Dad's appointments, the holidays I hosted because I knew Maren wouldn't. I thought of the relief I felt when everyone praised how smoothly things had gone, followed by the anger that no one noticed the smoothness had required me. Noah looked at me, and I knew we would revisit that sentence later. But a true observation did not become kind because it was delivered as a weapon. Mom pulled the surgery folder onto her lap. I think we have said enough for tonight. No, I said. I need to know whether Maren is staying after your surgery. Maren wiped her face. I told you I can't. You said Friday night. I can do Friday. And the rest? Mom opened the folder, pretending to examine a page. We will manage. That's not a plan. You're very concerned with plans all of a sudden, Maren said. Noah made a quiet sound of disbelief. I stood. Mom looked up. Where are you going? Home. We haven't resolved anything. You just said we'd said enough. I meant emotionally. We still need to discuss the schedule. I picked up my phone from the coffee table. Dad has the aide's number. I'll be here Thursday and Friday, like I said. And then? Mom asked. And then Noah and I are leaving? Her face went blank in the careful way that meant she wanted me to feel the full absence of approval. Elise, Dad said, nobody wants you to decide this while you're angry. The trip was booked 6 months ago. You know what I mean. I looked at Maren. Her mascara had smudged beneath one eye. Part of me wanted to hand her a tissue. Part of me wanted to ask how she could cry as if I had betrayed her. Mom said, please don't turn my recovery into a punishment. The old reflex rose before I could stop it. Reassure her, soften it, promise I would make everything work. I let the silence remain. For once, I wanted them to hear what it sounded like when I didn't rush to save them from it. Nobody did. Dad stared at the rug. Mom opened and closed the surgery folder without turning a page. Maren rubbed the smudge beneath her eye and inspected the mascara on her fingertip as if it had betrayed her, too. Noah stood beside me. Thursday morning, I said, because apparently even my exits required minutes. I'll drive Mom to the hospital with Dad. I'll stay through the procedure, come home with you, set up the ice machine, and spend Thursday night here. Friday, I'll handle meals, medication, and the first physical therapy visit. We leave at 4. Mom's voice was quiet. You've made that very clear. Maren covers Friday night. After that, Dad and the aide. I don't want an aide. Then Dad and Maren. Maren dropped her hand. I told you I won't be here. Then Dad. Everyone looked at him. Dad sat straighter. I can take care of my wife. I know you can, I said. Mom turned toward him. You don't know how the ice machine works. I can learn an ice machine, Diane. You thought the air fryer was a humidifier. It had a water symbol. It was a drop of grease. Noah's mouth twitched. Dad looked offended for 3 seconds. Then his own mouth twitched, too. That tiny moment of humor loosened the room, and Mom seized it. "See," she said, "we're all tired. Things sound worse when people are tired." The email did not sound different because I was tired. I put my hand on the doorknob. "Elise," Marin said. I looked back. She had stood, but she didn't come closer. "I am sorry you're hurt." Noah inhaled through his nose. I waited. Marin's chin lifted. "I don't know what you want me to say. That you're sorry you did it. I already said it was a mistake." "No, Mom said it was a mistake. You said you were warning him. Because I was concerned. Then you're not sorry." "Fine." Her eyes went bright again. "I'm sorry I used the phrase." It was almost impressive, the precision with which she apologized for the only part that had failed. I opened the door. The raised toilet seat slid across the cargo area when Noah backed out of the driveway. It hit one side, then the other, a large plastic metronome measuring the distance between my family's needs and my anger. Noah glanced toward the back. "What is that?" "Your anniversary gift. I was hoping for porcelain. It's a raised toilet seat for Mom." "Of course it is." We made it to the corner before my phone buzzed. Then again. Then 3 times in quick succession. "Do you want me to turn that off?" Noah asked. "You're driving. The car has controls. If you can silence my mother from the steering wheel, I'm willing to renew our vows tonight." He reached toward the console. "Don't." "I'll do it." I took out my phone. Dad had started a group text containing me, Mom, Marin, and himself. "Dad, everybody take a breath. We love each other." "Mom, I do not appreciate private medical matters being put into a group conversation." "Dad, this is not medical." "Mom, you mentioned my recovery." "Marin, I'm done talking about this." Marin then left the group. Dad added her back. Marin left again. Noah said, "What's happening? Diplomacy. Any treaties?" "Dad keeps annexing Marin." My phone buzzed with a direct message from her. "You got what you wanted. Noah thinks I'm horrible and Mom is terrified about surgery." I locked the screen. Noah turned at the next light. "Was that Marin?" "Yes." "What did she say?" "Nothing useful." He nodded once. The restraint irritated me. "You can say it." "Say what? That she was right about me getting quiet? I wasn't going to." "You were thinking it." "I was thinking, I don't know if you want me to ask what she said or leave you alone. That's a convenient position." His hands tightened on the wheel. "Everything I do today is going to be wrong, isn't it?" "I didn't say that." "You didn't have to." Hearing my own words returned in his voice made me turn toward the window. We drove the rest of the way home with the toilet seat knocking softly behind us. Inside, I took off my shoes, opened the dishwasher, and began removing clean glasses. Noah leaned against the counter. "Why are you doing that? Because they're clean. They'll remain clean for another hour. I don't want to talk while looking at a full dishwasher. That sounds like a condition you invented." I put a glass into the cabinet harder than necessary. The quiet, close hinge absorbed the force. "Do you want to fight?" I asked. "No. I want to finish one conversation before we start 6 new ones." We spent 2 hours talking. We spent 2 hours watching your family turn an email into a referendum on your tone. I shut the cabinet. "What conversation isn't finished? The one where you told me I existed in this house instead of living in it." I gripped the edge of the counter. Noah moved to the other side of the island, giving me space. "Was that how you felt then? Or how you feel now?" "Then." He waited. "Mostly then," I said. "Okay, that's all?" "What do you want me to say?" "I don't know. That's the problem, Elise. You want a specific response, but you don't tell anyone what it is." I laughed without humor. "You're agreeing with Marin. I'm not. She took a painful thing you trusted her with and used it to hurt you. There's no version where that becomes okay, because one sentence in the email was accurate. Several were accurate. Yes. I turned away. He came around the island, but he stopped before touching me. I was not good to live with that year. You were depressed. I was also selfish. You'd lost your job. I let that become your emergency. The apology I had wanted 4 years ago arrived so plainly that I distrusted it. He continued, I watched you pick up more and more because every time I tried something, you corrected me. I corrected you because the electric bill was late, one bill, and the car insurance. The website rejected the payment. You entered the wrong account number. Exactly. He rubbed his forehead. You remember the account number. I remember trying, making a mistake, and realizing you were standing behind me waiting to take the laptop. What was I supposed to do? Let the insurance lapse to protect your confidence? No. But there was no room in this house for me to be bad at anything. You would rather do every job yourself and hate me than watch me learn it slower. I stared at him. It was too close to what Maren had said. That didn't make them allies. It made me feel surrounded by a version of myself I had never agreed to become. I didn't enjoy it, I said. I know. You think I wanted to handle everything? No. I think handling things made you feel safer than asking and waiting. That sounds like something you rehearsed. I've been thinking about it since you said I only existed here. I turned back to the dishwasher and removed a plate. Noah reached past me and closed it. Stop, I said. No, open it. The dishes are not in danger. I need to do something. Then tell me what to do. The sentence landed differently than I expected. Not let me help. Not calm down. Tell me what to do. I looked around the kitchen. There were no emergencies. A stack of mail sat beside the fruit bowl. My coffee mug from that morning remained near the sink, a pale brown ring dried at the bottom. Put the mail away, I said. Where? You live here. He gave me a level look. This is the part where you want me to already know. You should already know where the mail goes. Some goes in your office, some goes in that drawer, some sits there for 3 weeks until you decide it has completed a spiritual journey. A laugh escaped me before I could prevent it. His shoulders lowered slightly. The drawer, I said. Anything with my name goes on my desk. He sorted the mail without ceremony. I stood beside him feeling ridiculous and raw. When he finished, he said, I don't think you were planning to leave me. I wasn't. But I understand why that year made you want a door. I looked down at the counter. I'm sorry you thought you needed to hide it, he said. I'm sorry I hid it. That's not the same as wishing it never happened. No, he nodded. Good. My phone rang again. Dad. I let it ring twice before answering. Your mother needs to know whether you ordered the shower chair, he said. Hello to you, too. Hello? Did you? No. The hospital said she may not need one. Well, she thinks she does. Then order one. A pause. From where? I closed my eyes. Noah held out his hand. This time I gave him the phone. Ron, he said. Open the folder. There's an equipment supplier listed on the yellow page. Dad spoke loudly enough that I could hear him. I don't see a yellow page. Are you looking in the left pocket? Another pause. Papers moved. Found it. Call that number tomorrow. Can Elise do it? They'll ask questions. Noah looked at me. I shook my head. She's right here, he said. She says you can handle it. I hadn't said that. I had only shaken my head. Still, hearing him translate it into confidence felt better than hearing him make an excuse. Dad sighed. All right. And the raised toilet seat is in our car, Noah added. I'll bring it over tomorrow. I looked at him. He ended the call and set my phone down. You don't have to do that, I said. I know. The difference between those 4 words and everything my family called love was so small I almost missed it. I almost told him I loved him. Instead, I said, don't let Dad convince you the toilet seat is an air fryer. I make no promises. The next morning, Noah loaded the plastic seat into his car before work. At 9:12, Mom sent me a photograph of it positioned over her toilet. Mom, this is humiliating. Me, Then don't post it. Mom, why would I post it? Me? Exactly. She sent no response. At 10, an equipment supplier called my office line about a shower chair. Ron Mercer gave us this number, the woman said. Of course he did. Are you Mrs. Mercer? I'm her daughter. Will you be the responsible party? The question was routine. She had probably said it 50 times that morning. Still, I stared through the glass wall of my office at coworkers walking past with coffee and folders, all of them apparently responsible for only the lives they had arrived with. My father is the responsible party, I said. He's her husband. I can put his number in the primary field. Please do. Would you like to remain the alternate? I almost said yes, it cost nothing to be an alternate. It was one field in one system. That was how it always began. No, I said. He has the information you need. After we hung up, I sat with my hand on the receiver. Gina from accounting appeared in my doorway carrying a blueberry muffin and her reading glasses. She was 50, divorced twice, and had reached a stage of life where she treated curiosity as a constitutional right. Was that about your mother? She asked. Yes. How's the knee? Still attached. Good. They charge extra if you bring your own. She tore the muffin in half. Why do you look like you just denied someone a kidney? I told them to call my father. Is your father alive? Very. Can he operate a telephone with coaching? Then I think the Republic will stand. She held out half the muffin. I took it. Gina leaned against the doorframe. My mother had her left knee done, then spent 6 weeks telling everyone the right one hurt in solidarity. Mine has already rejected the walker on aesthetic grounds. Tell her limping is ugly. I laughed. Seriously, Gina said. Do what you can do. Don't do what 3 grown people can do while watching you do it. There were 4 grown people if she included Noah, but I understood the arithmetic. By lunch, Dad had called twice. I let the first call go to voicemail. The second time, he left a message saying, "They have questions only you know, as if the shower chair company planned to test me on state secrets." I forwarded the voicemail to him with the supplier's number. At 3, he texted a photograph of a confirmation screen. Dad. Done. The sight of it gave me an embarrassing little rush of pride. Me. Perfect. He replied with a thumbs up, followed by another thumbs up 4 minutes later. Dad had never trusted that one carried sufficient emotional weight. Maren did not contact me. She contacted everyone around me. Mom mentioned that Maren was taking a little space. Dad told Noah during a discussion about ice packs that Maren felt attacked. Trevor sent me a text that said, "I don't know what happened, but she's barely sleeping." I stared at his message for a long time before responding. Ask her. He sent back, "I have." That was the first thing anyone said that made me wonder what Maren had told him. The answer came when Noah and I stopped at my parents' house the Sunday before surgery. Dad wanted help moving furniture so Mom's walker could pass between the sofa and coffee table. Noah and I arrived in old clothes, prepared to lift things. Maren arrived 20 minutes later wearing white pants and carrying a gift bag. Mom opened it and pulled out a long ivory robe with wide sleeves. "Oh, Maren." "For after surgery," she said. "It's bamboo." Dad looked at me. "Is that good?" "It's a plant," I said. "It's fabric," Maren corrected. Mom slipped the robe over her clothes. It reached nearly to her ankles. The sleeves hung over her fingertips. "It's beautiful," she said. "It's going to catch on the walker," I said. Maren's head snapped toward me. "Could you wait 10 seconds before criticizing something?" "I'm not criticizing it. I'm saying she shouldn't walk in it. It's for resting. She's supposed to get up every hour. It has a belt. That makes it worse." Mom removed the robe carefully. "I'll wear it when I'm sitting." "Thank you," Maren said. The 2 words contained an entire speech about my inability to appreciate bamboo. Noah moved the coffee table 6 inches toward the window. Dad stood at the other end with his hands beneath it, contributing direction. "A little to your left," Dad said. "Your left or mine?" Noah asked. "The house's left." "The house doesn't have a left," Dad pointed. "That way." I rolled up the small rug in front of the sofa. Mom protested that the room looked bare without it. "You'll trip," I said. "I've never tripped on that rug. You've never walked over it after knee surgery. Marin bought me slippers with grips. Marin held up a pair of cream slippers. Large satin bows covered the toes. They're non-slip, she said. The bows have their own weather system. Oh, for God's sake. What? They do. Noah picked up the rug and carried it to the hall closet before anyone could litigate. For the next hour, Dad and Noah rearranged furniture while I stocked the downstairs bathroom, labeled the ice packs, and reviewed medication times. Marin sat beside Mom on the sofa and made a playlist called Diane's Bionic Era. They laughed over song choices. I tried not to resent them. I failed. At one point, I carried a basket of clean towels into the living room and found Marin filming Mom pretending to walk like a robot. Dad was laughing. Noah had joined the joke by making electronic beeping sounds. For one ugly second, I wanted all of them to stop enjoying themselves. Then Mom saw the towels in my arms and said, "Elise, could you put those in the bathroom?" As if I had wandered in, holding them for decoration. I put them away. Noah found me lining up bottled water on the kitchen counter. "You okay?" he asked. "I'm arranging hydration. You're doing it very aggressively. I don't know what you mean." He took one bottle and placed it slightly out of line. I moved it back. He moved it again. "I will hurt you," I said. "Use your words." I laughed despite myself, then looked toward the living room. Marin was showing Mom how to add songs to the playlist. "She gets to be fun," I said. Noah followed my gaze. "Yes, I get toilet equipment. Yes. I don't like how quickly you're agreeing. Would you prefer I lie? I'd prefer you say the robe is ridiculous. The robe is ridiculous." "Thank you. It's also a nice gift." I glared at him. "You wanted honesty. I wanted loyalty. They're not supposed to be different things." Before I could answer, Marin entered the kitchen carrying 2 empty glasses. She stopped when she saw us. Noah took the water bottles and went to fill the ice machine in the dining room, giving us privacy so obviously that it felt like an announcement. Marin set the glasses in the sink. "Trevor texted me," I said. Her face tightened. "Why?" "To tell me you're not sleeping. He shouldn't have done that. What did you tell him?" "Nothing. He said he asked what happened, and I told him it was between us. You told my husband." Her eyes closed briefly. "Are we going to do this every time we're in a room?" "I don't know. Are you going to apologize?" I did. "No. I'm sorry I sent the email. It was the sentence I had asked for, delivered like a receipt." "Why are you sorry? Because it upset you." "Not enough." She stared at me. "Do you have a script?" "No. I want you to understand what you did. I understand that I crossed a line." "Which line?" "You're enjoying this." I stepped back. "What?" "You finally get to be completely right. That almost never happens in a family, but you've got it now and you're not going to let go. That's what you think this is? I think you want me to humiliate myself until you believe I've suffered enough. I want to know why my telling you no made you think you could interfere in my marriage. You didn't just tell me no. You talked to me like I was another job you were resigning from." The phrasing hit so precisely that I wondered how long she had been carrying it. "You canceled first," I said. "I made a mistake with dates, and you expected me to erase it. I expected my sister to help me figure it out." "I did." "You tell Mom Dad uses the aid, I keep my trip." She folded her arms. "That solution only works for you. It works for Mom. She'll be safe. It makes me the daughter who left for a lake while my mother recovered from surgery. I didn't create that fact. No. You just refused to protect me from it." There it was, finally, clean and undisguised. Marin looked toward the living room where Mom laughed at something Dad said. "I have spent my entire life loving you," she said quietly. "I know. You act like none of it counts because I asked you for things. You didn't ask me. You arranged things so asking wasn't necessary. That phrase meant we protected each other. It meant I protected you. That's not fair. Then tell me when you left the light on for me." Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. I watched memory move across her face, searching for evidence. "See?" I said. Her eyes hardened. "Maybe you never needed it." The answer hurt more than I expected. Before I could respond, Mom called from the living room. "Elise, where did you put the blue folder?" Marin looked at me. For 1 second, neither of us moved. Then she turned and called, "I'll find it, Mom." She left the kitchen. The folder was on the coffee table directly in front of our mother. Marin found it anyway. She sat beside Mom, opened it, and listened while Mom asked a question whose answer was printed in bold on the first page. I remained at the sink, feeling something inside the family shift by less than an inch. It was not enough to call change. But for once, I had not been the first person through the door. By the time we left that afternoon, Marin had found the medication page, the physical therapy instructions, and the card with the equipment supplier's number. She placed sticky notes along the folder's edge in different colors. Mom praised the system. I had created the same system the week before. I didn't mention it. At 5:30 Thursday morning, the streets were dark and nearly empty. Dad sat beside me in the passenger seat while Mom occupied the back with a pillow beneath her knee and a tote bag large enough for international relocation. "You won't need most of that," I said. "I'm not going into a hospital without my own tissues." "They have tissues. They have sandpaper in a box." Dad turned around. "Did you bring the charger?" "It's in the side pocket." "The long side or the short side?" "The side with the zipper. They both have zippers." "Ron, leave the bag alone." He faced forward again. I caught Mom's eyes in the mirror. "Nervous?" "No." Dad looked at me. Mom said, "Don't look at each other." At the hospital entrance, Dad insisted he could carry the tote bag, Mom's coat, his coffee, and the folder while helping her out of the car. He immediately dropped the folder. Papers spread across the passenger side floor. Mom closed her eyes. "This is why I need Elise." Dad handed me his coffee without comment, gathered the papers, and stood. "No," I said. He looked at me. "This is why you need to carry fewer things." He considered that, then gave me Mom's coat. Inside, the waiting area smelled like burnt coffee and disinfectant. A television mounted in the corner played a morning show with the captions on. A cheerful woman was demonstrating how to turn a cereal box into a decorative storage container. Mom watched for 30 seconds and said, "That's how you know a society is ending." Dad laughed too loudly, relieved to have permission. Check-in involved a sequence of questions Mom answered before the receptionist finished asking them. Date of birth, address, emergency contact. "My husband," she said. The receptionist looked at the form. "I have a lease listed." "That was from my last procedure," Mom said. Dad's head turned toward her. The receptionist asked, "Would you like me to change it?" Mom hesitated. I could feel Dad waiting. I could also feel the old impulse to say it didn't matter. "Leave me there, don't make this awkward." "Yes," Mom said finally. "Put Ron first. Elise can be second." Dad looked down at the folder in his hands. The receptionist changed the form. It was a small correction. It should not have felt like someone moving a piece of furniture off my chest. A nurse took Mom back to prepare. Dad and I remained in the waiting room, where he read the same page of a golf magazine for 10 minutes. "Marin texted," he said. I looked up. "She says to tell Mom she loves her." She could tell Mom. She doesn't want to call and upset her. Marin doesn't want to feel Mom being upset. Dad folded the magazine closed. "You two always know exactly where to stick the knife." That wasn't a knife. No? What was it? An observation. Sharp observation. I drank his coffee by accident, realized too late, and kept it. Dad watched me. "You're still going tomorrow?" "Yes." "All right." The absence of argument made me suspicious. "That's it? What do you want me to say?" "Nothing. I'm just not used to getting it." He rubbed his jaw. In the harsh waiting room light, he looked older than he had at dinner. The skin beneath his eyes was loose and gray. "I know your mother relies on you too much," he said. I waited, and I know I let her. There are apologies that arrive bearing flowers. Dad's arrived wearing a windbreaker and staring at a carpet pattern to hide stains. "Why?" I asked. Because you know what to do. You could learn. I am learning. You gave the shower chair company my office number. He looked embarrassed. I didn't know they were going to call. That's generally what companies do with phone numbers. I changed it, I know. He picked at the edge of the magazine. When you were in college, your mother would call you to ask where things were in our house. I remember. One time you told her the extra checks were in the second desk drawer under the old stamps. They were. You hadn't lived there for 8 months. I put them there, I know. That's what I mean. I leaned back. Dad continued, "You've always made it easy to ask you. That doesn't make it okay to keep asking." No. I turned toward him. Do you actually believe that? I'm sitting in a hospital waiting to find out whether somebody can saw part of your mother's knee off correctly. I believe several new things this morning. Despite myself, I smiled. He looked toward the surgical doors. I can handle tomorrow night. You'll be tired. So will you. And if she has a bad reaction, I'll call the number they give me. You need to watch for fever, calf pain, trouble breathing. I read the yellow page. I stopped. He almost smiled. I know where it is now. A nurse called us back before I could answer. Mom lay beneath a heated blanket wearing a blue surgical cap and no lipstick. Without lipstick, she looked more frightened. She reached for Dad first. He took her hand and said, "I changed the emergency contact." Her brows drew together. "You're stuck with me." "I was always stuck with you." "Yes, but now it's official." She laughed, then winced as if laughter itself had become medically questionable. I stood on the other side of the bed. Mom reached for me, too. For a moment, the three of us were linked awkwardly across rails, tubing and the tote bag she had insisted on keeping beside her. "Don't let him lose the folder," she said. "I won't," Dad said. She was talking to me. I know. They took her away at 7:42. The surgery lasted less than 2 hours. Dad checked the clock every 6 minutes. Marin sent 3 messages asking for updates, followed by a red heart and a photograph of the robe laid across Mom's bed at home. When the surgeon came out and said everything had gone exactly as expected, Dad's entire body sagged. He shook the man's hand twice. I texted Marin. "She's fine." "Recovery room now," Marin replied immediately. "Thank God. Tell her I knew she'd be amazing." I typed, "Tell her yourself," then deleted it. I sent a thumbs up instead and hated how much it looked like Dad's. Mom came home after 3 in the afternoon with a walker she immediately disliked. "It squeaks," she said. "It's rubber on tile," I told her. "I don't want to ruin the floor. The floor will survive." Dad moved slowly beside her, one hand hovering near her elbow without grabbing. The physical therapist had taught him how to help her stand, and he followed every instruction with the fierce attention of someone assembling a bomb. Once Mom was settled in the recliner, I connected the ice machine. Dad filled the reservoir. Noah arrived with soup, bread, and an overnight bag for me. He kissed my forehead. "How's the patient?" "She's arguing with a walker." "So, stable." Mom called from the living room. "I can hear you." "That's also a good sign," Noah called back. Marin arrived at 6, carrying pink roses and wearing salon clothes, all black and completely unsuitable for arranging flowers. She hugged Mom carefully, told her she looked beautiful, and cried. Mom cried because Marin cried. Dad stood behind them, holding a vase. I checked the medication chart. Marin stayed 45 minutes. She fluffed pillows, adjusted the bamboo robe over Mom's legs, and took a photograph of their joined hands without including faces. When she stood to leave, Mom looked surprised. "You're going?" "I have an early client." "Oh, I'll be back tomorrow afternoon. What time?" I asked. Marin kept her eyes on Mom. 4:30 or 5. Noah and I leave at 4. "I know. You said you'd cover Friday night." "I said I could stay Friday night before all of this happened." I looked at her. "Before what happened?" "Before it became clear I'm not wanted." Dad set the vase down too hard. Water sloshed onto the side table. Mom said, "This is not the time." "No," I agreed. "So what's the plan, Marin?" She picked up her purse. "I can stay until Trevor and I leave." You told me Saturday morning. He wants to beat traffic. Friday night traffic. Elise, stop interrogating me. I'm asking when you're leaving. 6. The room seemed to wait for me to fill the gap between 6 and morning. I looked at Dad. He met my eyes. I'll be here. Marin blinked. Obviously, you'll be here. I mean, I can handle it. Mom shifted beneath the robe. Ron, you need sleep. So does Elise. Marin's expression changed. For once, the consequence had passed me and landed where she could see it. I could cancel, she said, though she sounded as if someone else had suggested it. Mom reached for her hand. No, sweetheart, Trevor planned this for you. For his birthday, I said. Mom ignored me. Your father can manage one night. Dad's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Marin kissed Mom and promised to call in the morning. At midnight, the pain medication made Mom nauseated. I held a basin while Dad found a cool washcloth. At 2, the ice machine began beeping because the water level was low. Dad refilled it without waking me. At 4, Mom needed help to the bathroom. Dad got up before I did. I followed them into the hall anyway. Mom moved inch by inch behind the walker, the ivory robe dragging near her ankles. I bent to lift the hem. Dad got there first. I've got it, he whispered. He gathered the bamboo fabric in one hand and walked backward in front of his wife, while she shuffled toward the humiliating toilet seat she was now too tired to insult. I stood in the dark hallway with nothing to carry. The feeling was not relief, not yet. It was closer to vertigo. The floor seemed to tilt whenever one of them did something without me. At 7, I woke on the living room sofa to the smell of burned toast. My neck hurt. One sock had disappeared, and the bamboo robe was draped over a dining chair like the ghost of a wealthy widow. Dad stood in the kitchen scraping black toast over the sink. The settings are wrong, he said. The toaster has 2 settings. It has 6 numbers, 2 outcomes. He held up a second piece. It was pale enough to qualify as uncooked bread. See, he said, no middle. Mom called from the recliner. I want tea, not toast. You asked for toast, Dad called back. I changed my mind. You have to tell me when you do that. I just did. He looked at me. I bit the inside of my cheek. Tea bags are in the cabinet beside the stove. I know where tea is. Then why are you looking at me? I wasn't. He turned and opened the correct cabinet. Mom had slept in fragments. Pain woke her. Medication made her groggy, and every trip to the bathroom became a negotiation between urgency and physics. Still, she looked better than I expected. Her color had returned. Her voice had recovered enough strength to find fault with breakfast. You need to eat before your medication, I told her. I'm nauseated. Crackers, then. Those crackers taste like ceiling tile. Have you eaten a lot of ceiling tile? She gave me a look. Your father bought the generic kind. Dad set a mug of tea on the side table. They're all generic until somebody prints a sailboat on the box. Mom tried not to smile. I brought her 2 crackers and watched until she ate them. Dad checked the medication chart, uncapped the correct bottle, and counted the hours on his fingers. Pain pill now, he said. Blood thinner at 9. The physical therapist is coming at 10, I added. I know. The aide is coming tomorrow at 8. I know. Her name is Denise. I know, Elise. I closed my mouth. Mom looked between us. Don't snap at her. I didn't snap. You used her full name. That's her name. You only say it like that when you're annoyed. Dad handed Mom the pill. Diane. She took it. My phone showed no messages from Marin. I checked twice, then resented myself for checking. Noah called while I was helping Mom wash her face at the downstairs bathroom sink. I can be there at noon, he said. Do you want me earlier? No. Physical therapy at 10. Then she'll probably sleep. How's Ron? Making tea and using prescription labels. Without supervision? I'm trying not to take that personally. He was quiet for a moment. How are you? Wearing one sock. That bad. I can't find the other one. Your mother's house takes a toll. I leaned against the bathroom door frame. Mom inspected her face in the mirror and dabbed moisturizer along her cheekbones with the solemnity of a restoration expert. "We're still leaving at 4, Noah said. It wasn't a question. "Right. Do you want to?" I lowered my voice. "What? Go. Do you want to go?" "Of course." That wasn't an answer. Mom looked at me in the mirror. "Yes," I said, "I want to go." "Okay, then I'll be there at noon." After we hung up, Mom screwed the lid onto her moisturizer. "He's very firm with you lately. He asked me a question. He told you what you were doing." "No, he didn't." Sounded like it. I picked up her toothbrush cup. "You heard half a phone call." I heard his tone. "You hear a lot for someone who couldn't hear Dad asking about your charger from 3 feet away. That was before surgery. Did they replace your hearing while they were in there?" Mom almost laughed, then her expression softened. "I don't want you and Noah fighting because of us. We're not fighting because of you." "Because of Marin, then." I rinsed the cup. Mom touched my arm. She shouldn't have sent that email. It was the first time she had said it to me without immediately attaching an explanation. "No," I said, "she shouldn't have. She's always been impulsive." There was the explanation. I placed the cup beside the sink. "I'm not discussing Marin while holding your toothbrush. I don't know why you make everything sound ridiculous. It helps." The physical therapist arrived carrying resistance bands and cheerful cruelty. Her name was Patrice, and within 10 minutes she had Mom bending her new knee farther than Mom believed civilization permitted. "This woman is trying to kill me," Mom told Dad. Patrice smiled. "If I were trying to kill you, the paperwork would be terrible." I liked her immediately. Dad took notes without being asked. When Patrice demonstrated how to steady Mom during the exercises, he put his hands in the correct position. I remained near the doorway. At the 3rd repetition, Mom's face tightened. "Elise," she said. I stepped forward. Patrice held up one finger. "Let her finish. She's hurting. She's working." Mom reached for me anyway. Dad was closer. He took her hand. "2 more, he said. "I hate you." "1 more. "I married badly." "That's what your mother said." Patrice laughed. Mom completed the movement. I stood there with my arms folded, ashamed of the relief and ashamed of the shame. When the session ended, Patrice reviewed warning signs and demonstrated the exercises again. Dad answered every question correctly. I noticed Mom noticing. After Patrice left, Dad helped her into the recliner and arranged the ice pad around her knee. He did it crooked. I moved toward them. He saw me coming and adjusted it before I reached the chair. "Better?" he asked Mom. She inspected it. "A little higher." He moved it. "There." No disaster occurred. At 11:40, Marin finally texted. "How is she?" I sent sore. "PT went well. Dad has it handled." The typing dots appeared. "Did she ask about me?" I stared at the question. Yes. That was technically true. Mom had asked whether Marin had called while I was looking for my missing sock. "What did you say?" "That you were coming at 5. The dots appeared and vanished several times. "Trevor wants to leave closer to 5:30. I can come at 3. You told Mom 6. I know, I'm trying." Trying would have been staying. Trying would have been telling Trevor the lake would still contain water Saturday morning. But I had spent too many years translating effort into whatever Marin had already decided to do. I wrote, "Tell Mom your plan directly." She replied with a thumbs up. Apparently that was hereditary. Noah arrived at 12:15 with sandwiches, my overnight bag, and the blue sweater I had forgotten to pack. He kissed Mom, shook Dad's hand, and inspected the ice machine. "I refilled it at 4, Dad said." "I heard." "You heard?" Elise told me. Dad looked pleased. We ate around the coffee table. Mom managed half a turkey sandwich. Dad ate his whole sandwich and the other half of hers. Noah listened while Mom described physical therapy as organized violence. For 20 minutes, we resembled the kind of family we pretended to be in photographs. Then Mom's phone rang. She looked at the screen. "It's Marin." No one spoke while she answered. "Hi, sweetheart." Her expression shifted as Marin talked. "No, I understand, of course." Dad looked at the television, which was off. Mom continued, "Don't rush. The traffic by the bridge gets terrible." Another pause. "Yes, your father will be here. Elise is leaving at 4. My name sounded less like information than a diagnosis. I love you too." She ended the call and placed the phone face down on the arm of the recliner. "Marin isn't coming," I said. "Trevor wants to get on the road. She said 3. She has to pack." Dad cleared his throat. "Takes time to put clothes in a bag." Mom looked at him. She thought she could make it work. Noah gathered empty plates. I waited for the pull in my chest, the sense that the empty space Marin left had become mine to occupy. It came, strong and familiar. Dad reached for Mom's water. "You want more ice?" She nodded. He took the glass to the kitchen. Mom looked at me. "I suppose it'll be a quiet night." "Probably. I hate that your father has to do all this alone. He's not alone. You're here. You know what I mean. The aid starts tomorrow. That doesn't help tonight." "No." She waited. I began stacking napkins. "Could you leave in the morning?" she asked. The room became painfully quiet. Noah stopped beside the dining table, plates in his hands. He did not look at me. I thought of the anonymous email. "Your wife doesn't leave when she's angry. She gets quiet and makes a plan." For once, I did not get quiet. "No," I said. "We're leaving at 4. Mom's eyes filled so quickly, I almost doubted what I saw. "I'm not asking you to cancel. You're asking me to give up the first night. It's one night. It's our anniversary. Your anniversary is next week. The trip is now." She looked toward the kitchen. "Your father is exhausted. So am I." Her mouth opened, then closed. I added, "He said he can handle it. Believe him." Dad returned carrying the water glass. "I can." Mom looked wounded by both of us. At 3:30, I reviewed the medication chart one final time. Dad stood beside me. "Pain medication no sooner than 6, I said. "It's written down. Blood thinner with dinner. Written down. If she gets dizzy, sit her down, check her blood pressure, call if it doesn't improve. If there's chest pain, call emergency services. Then you don't call me first." "I know." He tapped the chart. His notes were messy but complete. "You really have it?" I asked. "No," he said, "but I'll do it anyway." The honesty steadied me. Mom would not look at me when I carried my bag to the door. I went back and bent to kiss her cheek. "We'll call when we get there. Drive safely. Do your exercises. I've had enough orders. I love you." Her face softened, but only a little. "I love you too." Dad hugged me in the hallway. "Go." Noah loaded our bags while I stood beside the car waiting for someone to call me back inside. No one did. We had driven 9 miles when Dad called. My heart jumped. "What happened?" "Nothing." "Your mother wants to know where you put the extra crackers." I closed my eyes. "Top pantry shelf, left side," I told her that. In the background, Mom said something I couldn't hear. Dad lowered his voice. "She said you always put them in the basket. I moved them so you could reach them. I found them. I called so she'd stop saying I was wrong." "Dad." "I know. I'm hanging up." The call ended. Noah kept his eyes on the highway. "Do you want to turn around?" "Yes." He glanced at me. "I don't want to go back," I said. "But I want to turn around." He nodded, as if that made sense. The exit from my parents' neighborhood passed on our right. I watched it recede in the side mirror until the road curved and there was nothing left to see. My phone remained in my hand for another 20 minutes. Then a message arrived from Dad. "Crackers found. Medicine taken. Your mother says stop checking." I had not checked once. I put the phone face down in the cup holder. The mountains were still hours away, but for the first time all day we were driving toward them. I turned it over 3 times before we reached the interstate. Each time, the screen remained dark. The 4th time, Noah reached across the console and held out his hand. "What? Give it to me. I'm not 12. "Then stop checking it like a 12-year-old waiting to see if she's been invited somewhere." I placed the phone in his palm. He put it in the glove compartment. That's dramatic, I said. It's 12 inches away. What if Dad calls? The car will ring. What if he texts? We'll discover it at the next gas station, like pioneers. I leaned my head against the seat. For a while, we listened to an audiobook neither of us followed. A British man described a murder in a country house, while Noah changed lanes, and I mentally reviewed Mom's medication schedule. At the edge of town, he pulled into a diner with a neon rooster in the window. I'm not hungry, I said. You ate half a sandwich 6 hours ago. I ate the whole half. Remarkable. Inside, a waitress called both of us honey and brought coffee without asking whether we wanted it. I ordered soup. Noah ordered a burger and then ate half my crackers while waiting for his fries. I notice you're not concerned about the brand, I said. These have a sailboat. That's how they get you. He smiled, but the smile faded. Did you ever go back to those apartment listings? He asked. The diner continued around us. Plates struck counters. A blender started behind the register. At the next table, 2 men in work boots argued about whether a person could reasonably own 7 dogs. No, I said. Not even to look? No. Did you save the folder somewhere else? I deleted it. Okay. I stirred my soup. Do you want me to swear? No. You sound like you do. I'm trying to ask questions without making them accusations. How's that going? Poorly. The waitress set down his burger. Noah thanked her, waited until she walked away, then said, I don't think you're lying. Good. I do think there were things happening in our marriage that I didn't understand. There were things happening in our marriage that I didn't understand. Also fair. I took a spoonful of soup and burned my tongue. He cut his burger in half. When you imagined the apartment, was I in it? That defeats the concept. I mean, did you imagine leaving me and then having me come over? Trying again? I looked toward the window. Trucks moved through the dark parking lot, headlights sliding across the glass. I didn't imagine a new relationship, I said. I imagined an empty room. His face tightened. No one asking what was for dinner. No one losing something and assuming I knew where it was. No one being disappointed in me because I hadn't fixed what they hadn't told me was wrong. I was disappointed in you. You were disappointed in everything. I was ashamed. I know that now. I was ashamed that you had to carry me, so you became heavier. He nodded slowly. Yes, I hadn't expected agreement. He looked down at his plate. I knew you were angry. Every time I walked into a room, I could feel you measuring what I had failed to do, because you had usually failed to do something. I know. You can't use my reaction to erase what caused it. I'm not. He picked up one fry, broke it in half, and put both pieces down. I'm saying I started avoiding things because I knew you would do them better. Then I hated you for proving it. The honesty was ugly enough to trust. I said, I liked proving it. He looked up. Not all the time, but sometimes. It was easier to be the competent one than the scared one. You didn't look scared. That was the point. The waitress returned with a coffee pot. Warm you up, honey? We both moved our cups toward her at the same time. Married? She asked. 15 years, Noah said. She filled our cups. Well, you still coordinate. After she left, I laughed. Noah did too, quietly at first, then hard enough that the men with 7 theoretical dogs looked over. It helped. Our rental sat 20 minutes outside Asheville at the end of a steep road. The photographs had made it look like a cabin suspended peacefully among trees. In reality, it stood behind another cabin, beside 3 trash cans, with a view of one mountain if we leaned left from the porch. It's charming, I said. There's a hot tub. That warning sign says not to use it if you have skin. It says skin conditions. We have no idea what happened in that water before us. We're not making friends with it. Inside, the rooms were clean and aggressively rustic. A wooden sign above the couch said, "Escape to the mountains." Another beside the kitchen said, "This is our happy place." Do they threaten happiness in every room? I asked. Noah opened the bedroom door. A third sign hung above the bed. Always kiss me goodnight. We don't have a choice, he said. It's the law. I set my bag on the luggage rack and began unpacking. Toiletries in the bathroom, sweaters in the second drawer, shoes beneath the bench. Noah watched me from the doorway. What? Nothing. Say it. You've been here 40 seconds. I'm unpacking. Are you afraid the cabin will ask where the toothpaste is? I held up the toiletry bag. Would you like to live out of this for 4 days? Yes. That's barbaric. I'm only observing. I am allowed to put things away without it becoming a symptom. You are. I set the bag on the bathroom counter instead of emptying it. Noah raised both hands. That felt like a trap. It was. We went to bed exhausted and lay beneath the mandatory kissing sign without touching for several minutes. Then he said, "Did you tell Maren because you thought she wouldn't judge you?" In part. What was the other part? She knew you at your best. I thought she would understand that one terrible year wasn't the whole marriage. Did she? Yes. The answer surprised him. She defended you, I said. That night, she reminded me how you took care of me after my surgery, how you slept in a chair because the hospital cot hurt my back. She said being lost wasn't the same as choosing not to come home. Noah stared at the ceiling. That's why this hurts, I said. She took a night when she was the best sister I could have asked for and turned it into evidence against me. He reached across the space between us and took my hand. She doesn't get to change what she did for you then, he said. I don't know how to separate it. You don't have to tonight. The wooden sign instructed us again. I turned toward him. We're out of compliance. He kissed me. It was not a movie kiss that erased the day. His lips were dry. My neck still hurt from the sofa. Halfway through, his knee bumped mine and I told him to move it. But when we fell asleep, his hand remained around mine. My phone was still in the glove compartment the next morning. I woke at 6:30 and reached automatically toward the nightstand. My hand found a lamp shaped like a pine cone. Noah opened one eye. The car didn't ring. That doesn't mean nothing happened. It means no one called. They could have texted. They could have sent a carrier pigeon. I'm getting it. He rolled onto his back, put on pants. I had reached the bedroom door wearing a t-shirt and underwear. The trash cans would judge me, I said. There's a housekeeper parked outside. I looked through the window. A woman was unloading towels from an SUV. Fine. By the time I retrieved the phone, there were 9 messages. 4 came from Dad. 6:30. Mom slept 3 hours straight. 7:12. Denise is here. 7:13. She seems nice. 7:19. Your mother says Denise moved the blue pillow. Mom had sent 1 message. Denise moved the blue pillow. Maren had sent 3. Mom won't answer me. Is she okay? Can you ask her to call? The final message came from Denise, who had apparently obtained my number before I removed myself as the alternate. Good morning, Elise. Your mother is doing well. Your father asked me to let you know they have everything covered. Enjoy your trip. I read it twice. Then I called Dad. He answered on the first ring. I told you not to call. No, you didn't. I was going to. How is she? Complaining. About what? The blue pillow. In the background, Mom said, "It supported my back." Dad lowered his voice. It was behind her left shoulder. Denise moved it 2 inches. Put it back. I did. Has she eaten? Oatmeal and half a banana. Medication? Taken? Exercises? After breakfast? Blood pressure? Elise. What? Stop. The word was gentle. I walked to the edge of the porch. Morning light spread between the trees. Somewhere below us, a truck backed up with a series of electronic beeps. Dad continued. Denise knows what she's doing. I know where the yellow page is. Your mother is sore and mean, which the nurse said is normal. I heard that, Mom called. I said the nurse said it. She did not say mean. She implied it. I smiled. Dad said, go look at a mountain. Tell Mom I love her. You can tell her? The phone changed hands. Mom said, you didn't have to check this early. I woke up. You should sleep. I tried. How's the cabin? full of commands. What? Signs. Never mind. How are you? I've been better. I know. Denise moved my pillow. I heard. She also made the oatmeal too thick. Fire her immediately. Mom laughed, then made a small sound of pain. Careful, I said. I'm fine. We were quiet. Then she asked, Are you enjoying being away? The question contained too many possible answers. Yes, I said. Oh, that doesn't mean I'm glad you're hurting. I didn't say it did. You sounded disappointed. I'm adjusting to the fact that my daughter can enjoy herself while I'm recovering. I stared out at the mountain we had to lean left to see. Those things can happen at the same time, I said. I suppose. Mom. What? You taught me that. When? Every time Marin went somewhere after I stayed. She went silent. I regretted saying it before the final word left my mouth. Not because it was untrue, because I had turned an ordinary phone call into another courtroom. Mom's voice cooled. I'm going to do my exercises. Okay, have a nice day. You too. She hung up. Noah came onto the porch carrying 2 cups of coffee. He gave me one and took in my face. How are they? Fine. How are you? I made it 6 minutes before punishing my mother. He sat beside me on the wooden bench. What did you say? I told him. He drank his coffee. It was sharp. I know. It was also true. I know. You can apologize for the sharpness without apologizing for going. I know. He glanced at me. I'm being extremely helpful. I'm resisting the urge to move your coffee 6 inches to the left. He moved it himself. We spent the morning walking a trail that climbed more aggressively than the brochure suggested. Noah carried the water. I carried snacks because he believed trail mix became a lunch if it contained enough almonds. Halfway to the overlook, my phone buzzed. Marin, did you tell Mom not to talk to me? I stopped walking. Noah looked back. What? I showed him. Are you going to answer? I don't know. Another message appeared. She's punishing me because you made this into such a big deal. I began typing, deleted it, typed again. What I finally sent was, Mom is in pain. Call her and keep calling. Marin replied, I have been. For once, I believed her. At the overlook, wind pushed my hair across my face. Noah stood beside the railing while I photographed the mountains, though every picture looked flatter than the view. My family would survive if I disappeared, I said. He looked at me. That's a cheerful anniversary thought. They'd be angry, but they'd survive. Yes, I spent years thinking those were the same thing. He leaned against the railing. Do you want to disappear? No. Good. I want to come home without picking everything back up. Then don't. You say that like objects stay on the floor until the correct person arrives. Sometimes they do. And if nobody picks them up, then we decide whether we care about the floor. I studied him. Was that wisdom? I think the altitude has affected me. My phone buzzed once more. Dad had sent a photograph of Mom standing behind the walker, Denise beside her, and the blue pillow visible on the recliner where it apparently belonged. Under it, he wrote, We're okay. Be where you are. I put the phone in my pocket. Then I was. Being where I was turned out to take practice. At lunch, I wondered whether Mom had done her second set of exercises. In a bookstore, I caught myself calculating when Dad should refill the ice machine. During dinner, a server set down 2 glasses of wine and I thought about blood-thinner timing. Noah raised his glass. To 15 years, our anniversary isn't until Tuesday. Then to 14 years and 362 days. You didn't account for leap years. He lowered the glass. We can toast after you finish the math. I touched mine to his, to imperfect accounting. That feels more honest. We were sitting outside a restaurant on a narrow street beneath strings of lights that made everyone look better rested. I had changed my blouse 3 times before leaving the cabin. Noah had watched without comment until I asked which one he liked, then chose the first. I was wearing the third. He ordered trout without asking me what I thought. I noticed because I usually told him which menu item he would regret. You're staring at my dinner, he said. I'm watching you make an independent choice. It has bones. That sounds like a personal journey. He lifted his wine. Growth. My phone remained in my purse. I had spoken to Dad once. Mom had completed her exercises, eaten chicken soup, and complained that Denise folded the towels like a hotel. Marin had sent no more messages. Are we going to divide chores when we get home? Noah asked. I looked at him. That is the least seductive anniversary question anyone has ever asked. I could make a spreadsheet. I'm leaving you. Apartment furnished or unfurnished? The joke struck the bruise. He saw it immediately. Sorry, he said. No, it was funny. It was also cheap. I traced the base of my wine glass. Furnished. His expression softened. If I leave over a spreadsheet, I said, I'm not buying a couch. He reached across the table and touched my fingers. I don't want to turn this into me doing the dishes for 2 weeks because we had one profound weekend. Good, because you load bowls like you're hiding them from police. I'm serious. So am I. There's no water flow. He waited. I sighed. What do you want to take over? Bills, groceries, dinner 3 nights a week, my own family's birthdays and gifts. You already handle your mother's birthday. You buy the card because the ones you choose have glitter. She likes glitter. She is 73. I wasn't aware Sparkle expired. I smiled. Fine. Bills, groceries, 3 dinners, and all gifts for your side. And if I forget something, you don't secretly do it. What if it's important? You tell me I forgot, and then I fix it. What if you don't fix it correctly? There it is. What? The word correctly. There are incorrect ways to pay bills. There are also late fees. Not helping your case. He rubbed his thumb over my knuckles. Let me be responsible enough to have consequences. I thought of Dad searching for the yellow page, Mom's blue pillow. The hours I had spent making sure people experience mistakes only after I had cushioned every edge. Okay, I said. You don't sound okay. I'm agreeing under protest. I'll take it. His phone buzzed against the table. Marin's name appeared on the screen. Noah looked at me. What? I asked. She's calling me. I can see that. Do you want me to answer? The question made me unexpectedly angry. Why is that mine to decide? Because she's your sister. She emailed you. You decide what relationship you want with the woman who emailed you. The phone continued buzzing. Noah answered. Hi, Marin. I reached for my wine, aware of every inch of distance between us. He listened. No, he said. We're at dinner. A pause. I understand you want to apologize. I looked at him. No, I'm not going to step away from the table. He turned the volume down, but I could still hear the shape of her voice, quick and urgent. Noah said, You sent the message to me. If you're apologizing for that, Elise should hear it. More words from Marin. No, I'm not putting you on speaker without telling you. He listened again. His jaw tightened. What happens in my marriage is not your concern unless Elise asks you to be involved. I looked down at the tablecloth. Marin's voice rose enough that I caught my name. Noah said, I don't think she's perfect. I think she's my wife, and I think you tried to use me to make her doubt herself. A couple at the next table glanced over. Noah lowered his voice. You don't get to warn me about her and then ask me to keep your interpretation secret. If you want to repair this, talk to Elise. He ended the call. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. What did she say? I asked. She said she was sorry she involved me. But she still thinks I should know how you shut people out. I drank my wine. She said your family barely spoke to her when she visited today, he added. She visited? After they got back. Mom didn't mention it. She thinks you turned everyone against her. I laughed softly. I wasn't there. I told her that. Did she believe you? No. The server arrived with our food. My pasta smelled like garlic and butter. Noah's trout possessed an entire head. He looked at it. This fish knows I made the wrong choice. Let it teach you. We ate. The conversation moved to ordinary things, then circled back, because ordinary things had become difficult to trust. Later, walking to the car, Noah took my hand. "You were right," he said. "About the fish. About letting me decide whether to answer." I didn't say it nicely. You don't have to perform every correct decision pleasantly. That should be embroidered on a pillow, not the blue one. I stopped beneath one of the streetlights and kissed him. It was easier than the kiss beneath the command sign. We were both a little drunk. My shoes hurt, and his hand was warm at my waist. A group of people passed us laughing. Somewhere down the block, a man played guitar badly for tips. For that minute, I did not picture a furnished apartment. The rest of the trip was not transformative. We went to a museum where Noah read every plaque and I waited on benches. We bought jam from a store that sold nothing but things in jars. We argued about a trail, took the wrong one, and ended up beside a parking lot instead of a waterfall. On our anniversary morning, he gave me a pair of silver earrings he had chosen without assistance. "They don't have glitter," he said. "They're perfect." "Don't say perfect. It makes me nervous." I put them on. My gift to him was a leather wallet. He transferred everything from his old one while we sat at the cabin table and discovered 3 expired insurance cards, $40 in cash, and a coupon for a restaurant that had closed. "You carry chaos in your pocket," I said. "I contain multitudes." Before we left, I checked beneath the bed, behind both doors, inside every drawer, and under the couch. Noah leaned against the kitchen counter. "We've been here 4 days. How many lives do you think we established?" "I'm looking for my charger. It's in the side pocket of your bag, the long side or the short side." He smiled. The drive home felt shorter. I checked my phone less, partly because Dad had begun sending updates that did not contain questions. "Walk to kitchen. Exercise is done. Denise says swelling looks normal." On the final message, Mom had added, "Your father is enjoying his promotion." I replied, "He earned it." When we reached our house, Noah unloaded the car while I carried in the food we had bought. The kitchen looked exactly as we had left it. For once, no one had entered our absence and converted it into a list. I stood at the island longer than necessary. Noah came in behind me. "Do you want to go see your mom?" "Yes." "Tonight?" I considered it. "No." "Tomorrow." He nodded. "I'll make dinner. We have no groceries. I'm in charge of groceries now." We agreed when we got home. We are home. "So this is your first failure. It's my first consequence." He ordered pizza. The next evening, we drove to my parents' house after work. Dad answered the door wearing the Kiss the Cook apron over a collared shirt. "I'm making meatloaf," he said. "Should I alert anyone?" Noah asked. "I have a recipe." Mom sat in the recliner with her leg elevated. The walker stood within reach. The blue pillow supported her back, and the bamboo robe had been shortened to knee length with an uneven line of stitches. She noticed me looking. "Denise hemmed it," she said. "Very practical. It looks good. It was a beautiful gift. It still is." Mom studied my face, perhaps looking for sarcasm. I gave her none. I kissed her cheek. "How do you feel?" "Abandoned." Dad called from the kitchen. "She means sore. I know what I mean, Ron." Noah moved toward the kitchen. "Need help?" "I need someone to tell me whether this is a teaspoon or tablespoon. They're labeled. The print is small. They disappeared together." I sat on the edge of the sofa. "Dad said you're doing well. He's very proud of himself." "He should be." He put the fitted sheet on sideways. "Did the bed still work?" Mom's lips tightened. I touched the edge of the ice pad. It was properly positioned. "Marin came Sunday," I said. Mom looked toward the kitchen. She brought soup. That was nice. She stayed 20 minutes. Less nice. She said she wasn't comfortable here. Why? "You know why. Because you were angry?" I did not say I was angry. "Were you?" Mom adjusted the robe over her knee. "She left me 2 days after surgery. She left Dad. She left both of us. And I left. You stayed the first night. So her leaving counts more?" Mom met my eyes. "You told us what you were doing. You made sure we had help. You didn't pretend your plans were something happening to you. The fairness of it surprised me. Before I could answer, the front door opened. Maren stepped in carrying a grocery bag. She stopped when she saw me. "I didn't know you were coming," she said. "I didn't know you were." Mom looked between us. I asked her to pick up milk. Maren set the bag on the table. Trevor and I bought too much food for the lake. I brought some things. She removed cheese, fruit, a loaf of bread, and a container of soup. Dad called from the kitchen. "Did you get the milk?" Maren froze. She looked into the bag, then at Mom. I forgot it. Mom closed her eyes. The silence that followed was small, ordinary, and almost laughably familiar. Usually I would have stood, taken my keys, and gone to the store before anyone needed to ask. I stayed seated. After a moment, Maren looked at me. I looked back. Then she picked up her purse. "I'll go get it," she said. The door closed behind her. Mom adjusted the blue pillow. Neither of us said a word. For once, forgetting the milk remained exactly the size of forgetting the milk. No one had to turn it into my emergency. Maren returned 8 minutes later with a gallon of milk and a receipt she placed on the table, as if someone might accuse her of inventing the errand. Dad's meatloaf was dry around the edges and nearly raw at the center. He stared at the first slice. "That's not ideal," he said. "It's pink," Mom said. "Beef can be pink, not meatloaf." Noah carried the pan back to the oven. 20 more minutes. "What do we eat now?" Mom asked. Maren opened the bread she had brought. "I can make grilled cheese." Dad took off the apron. "I made dinner." "You made future dinner," Noah said. "We're making current dinner." Mom laughed. Dad looked wounded, but he handed Maren the butter. I stood automatically. Noah glanced at me. He didn't tell me to sit. That would have made the choice his. I sat. Maren found the skillet. Dad sliced cheese. Noah opened a can of tomato soup and diluted it with the milk Maren had retrieved. They bumped elbows and asked one another where things were. At one point, Dad gave Maren a wooden spoon when she had asked for a spatula. No one died. Mom watched from the recliner with the same expression I probably wore whenever Noah loaded bowls into the dishwasher. "You're going to burn that side," she called. Maren lifted the sandwich. It was dark brown. "It's flavor," Dad said. Noah looked at me. I laughed first. We ate grilled cheese and soup around the coffee table, while the meatloaf completed its second attempt at becoming food. Mom asked about Asheville. "Did the leaves turn?" she asked. "Not yet," I said. "Some color at higher elevations." "Did you go to the Biltmore?" "No. You went all that way and didn't see the Biltmore?" "We saw other things." "What other things?" "A parking lot," Noah said. Maren looked at him despite herself. "You missed the trail?" The map was interpretive. "You held it upside down, didn't you?" There was no designated top. For a few minutes, she and Noah discussed the trail as if she had not once tried to convince him that I was quietly dismantling our marriage. I watched them and felt two opposite things. Relieved that ordinary conversation was still possible, and angry that it came so easily. Then Maren said, "I'm glad you had a nice trip." Her tone made it sound like a concession. "Thank you," I said. She dipped her sandwich into the soup. "I mean it." I said thank you. "You don't sound like you believe me." "What sound should I make?" Mom said, "Please don't." Maren put down her sandwich. "I'm trying." "No one said you weren't," Dad said. Elise said nothing, which is what I would have written if I were warning someone about myself. I lifted my water and drank. Noah's hand rested on the sofa cushion between us, close enough to touch but not touching. He'd become very careful about not performing support on command. After dinner, Mom needed help to the bathroom. Dad brought the walker and waited while she stood. He no longer hovered in 5 directions at once. He offered his arm, let her decide whether to take it, and moved at her pace. Maren gathered bowls from the table. I picked up mine. "You can leave it," she said. "I'm carrying 1 bowl." "I know. I'm saying I've got it." The words felt pointed. I gave her the bowl. She took it, then paused. "Can we talk outside?" Mom was halfway down the hall, arguing with Dad about whether the walker was too close. I looked at Noah. Marin saw it. You need permission? No. Then why did you look at him? Because we arrived together. People who arrive together sometimes communicate. Her face tightened. Forget it. I followed her onto the back patio. Dad had left 2 folding chairs near the grill. Marin sat in one. I remained standing until she rolled her eyes, then took the other. The evening had cooled. Through the glass door, I could see Noah washing bowls while Dad helped Mom back toward the recliner. The room looked warm and contained without us. Marin pulled the sleeves of her black blouse over her wrists. Noah told you I called him. Yes, I apologized. To him. I sent him the email about me. She looked toward the dark yard. I don't know how to talk to you now. You could start by not talking about me to my husband. He is not some random person. He's family. You tried to make him suspicious of me. I thought he deserved context. Context for what? For why you were suddenly acting like everyone was taking advantage of you. I laughed softly. Suddenly. You never said any of this before. I said it all the time. No, you joked. You sighed. You complained to Noah after we left. You never sat me down and said you thought our entire relationship was a lie. I don't think it was a lie. You asked me when I ever left the porch light on for you. Could you answer now? She looked down. I waited. Maybe not in the exact same way, she said, but I was there when you needed me. I know. Do you? Yes. You were there the night I looked at apartments. You were there when Noah lost his job and I didn't know how to help him. You drove over with coffee when I was too tired to go to work. You have loved me. Her eyes filled, but she didn't look away. And then you used all of it, I said. You took the access I gave you because you were safe and turned it into a case against me. I was angry, I know. You think anger makes you honest. Sometimes it just makes you cruel. So what do you want? You want me to beg? No, I want you to stop treating an apology like a price I named too high. Her lips pressed together. I continued. And I need one thing to be clear. You do not contact Noah about me again. If you have something to say about our marriage, you say it to both of us or neither of us. She gave a brittle laugh. So I need an appointment now. You need a boundary. There's always another word for shutting someone out. You emailed my husband from a fake address. I used the phrase so you would know it was me. That doesn't make it less anonymous. I didn't want him dismissing it because it came from your difficult sister. There was the shape of her self-awareness, accurate enough to be useful, distorted enough to protect her. Did you think he would keep it from me? I asked. No. Then what did you think would happen? She rubbed her thumb against the seam of her sleeve. I thought he'd ask you, she said. He did. And maybe you'd hear how you sounded. The answer was smaller than malice and more revealing. You thought he could put me back, I said. I thought you listened to him. I do listen to him. You don't listen to me. Listening isn't obeying. I never asked you to obey. You asked me to cancel my trip without using the word cancel. Then when I didn't, you tried to weaken the person supporting me. She stood. Everything sounds sinister when you say it. Everything sounds accidental when you do. Marin stared at me, breathing hard. Through the glass, Mom had reached the recliner. Dad adjusted the blue pillow. Noah dried his hands. I miss you, Marin said. The sentence slipped beneath every defense I had built. I looked away. That doesn't fix it, I said. I know. It was the first answer she had given that didn't argue. I miss you too. Her face crumpled for half a second. Then she nodded, pushed open the patio door, and went inside. We did not hug. For the next several weeks, my life became a series of small experiments in letting other adults remain responsible. Noah bought groceries and came home with cilantro instead of parsley, vanilla yogurt instead of plain, and enough paper towels for a minor emergency. You said we were low, he explained. We are no longer low. I solved it. You created storage issues, consequences. He made dinner 3 nights a week. One night, he forgot to thaw the chicken and served scrambled eggs. Another night, he attempted a curry so spicy we opened all the windows in November. I wanted to take over constantly. Sometimes I did. The first time, he handed me the spoon and left the kitchen. I finished the sauce, ate it, and spent the meal angry that he had let me. The second time, I told him I thought the onions needed longer. He said, "Noted." They remained slightly crunchy. We ate them. He paid the bills. One utility payment went through 2 days late because he had entered the password incorrectly and locked himself out. The late fee was $5. The house remained standing. Dad drove Mom to physical therapy. He learned which parking entrance had the fewest steps. He made soup, washed the ice machine pads, and discovered that Mom preferred her tea after breakfast instead of with it. A preference she had apparently expected me to know but never told him. The aide stopped coming after 3 weeks. Dad texted me a photograph of the empty recliner one afternoon. "Your mother walked to the mailbox. Mom sent a correction. I walked past the mailbox. He is minimizing my achievement. I chose to drive her to one therapy appointment because I wanted to." When I told her that, she looked almost suspicious. "Is Noah busy?" she asked. "No. Your father could drive." "I know." "Then why are you?" "Because I want an hour with you." She became quiet. On the way home, she asked if I would stop for coffee. We sat in the parking lot drinking from paper cups while she told me Dad had begun reorganizing the kitchen. He moved the mixing bowls, she said. Ask him to move them back. I did, and? He said the new shelf is easier for both of us. Is it? She sipped her coffee. Yes. The admission seemed to cost her. Marin and I communicated through small offerings. She sent me a photograph of a display she had arranged at the salon. I told her it looked good. I sent her a video of a woman trying to fold a fitted sheet. She replied, "This is violence." Neither of us mentioned the porch light. Mom's knee improved enough that she began planning Thanksgiving. She called me on a Thursday evening while Noah was making chili. "I think we should keep it simple this year," she said. Good. Just the 6 of us. The 6 meant Mom, Dad, me, Noah, Marin, and Trevor. That sounds simple. I won't be able to stand long enough to cook. Then don't. I thought we could do it at your house as usual. I looked into the kitchen. Noah was reading the back of a seasoning packet, lips moving. "No," I said. Mom went quiet. "No? I don't want to host this year, but your dining room is larger. There are 6 of us. You have the serving dishes. You own serving dishes. I'm still using the cane. Then Marin can host." Mom inhaled. I waited for the explanation. Her salon was busy. Trevor's family had demands. Marin's oven ran hot. Her table was too small. She became anxious when people judged her house. Instead, Mom said, "You should ask her. It's your dinner. I don't want her to think this is coming from you. It is coming from me. I'm not hosting." Noah looked over from the kitchen. Mom said, "I wish every decision didn't have to become a statement now. It's only a statement because you assumed I'd say yes." She ended the call soon after. 10 minutes later, the family group came back to life. Dad had added Marin again. "Mom, we need to decide Thanksgiving." "Dad, your mother says simple." "Marin, what does simple mean?" "Mom, Elise is not hosting." "Marin, of course she isn't." I read the message twice. Noah stood beside me. "Are you going to answer?" "Yes," I typed. "Marin, would you host? We'll each bring food. You won't have to cook everything." The typing dots appeared, disappeared, then returned. "Marin, my table seats 4. Dad, we have folding chairs." "Marin, my oven is unreliable." "Noah, I can bring the turkey already cooked." "Mom, I can bring my warming trays." "Marin, this feels like a setup." I wrote, "It's dinner, not surgery." She replied, "Easy for you to say when you're not responsible." The irony was so complete, I put the phone down. Dad answered before I could. "Dad, we will all be responsible. That is the point." No one wrote anything for several minutes. Then Marin sent one final message. "Fine. Thanksgiving at my house. 3 o'clock. Bring chairs and do not criticize my oven. Noah read it over my shoulder. I like the oven's boundaries, he said. I looked at the word fine and understood how many of my own agreements had begun exactly that way. This one, at least, was not mine. Noah began thawing the turkey on Monday. By Tuesday, he had read 6 conflicting instructions and developed strong opinions about refrigerator temperature. This website says 1 day per 4 pounds, he told me. How much does it weigh? 14.7. So 4 days. 3.675. Are you planning to cook it Friday morning? I want credit for precision. You can have precision or dinner at 3. Choose. He had volunteered to handle the turkey because Marin's oven was emotionally unreliable, her phrase, and because he wanted his Thanksgiving contribution to involve more than carrying chairs. I made mashed potatoes and green beans. Mom made cranberry sauce from a can, though she transferred it into a crystal bowl so no one would know it had ever been cylindrical. Dad brought folding chairs, 2 warming trays, and a pecan pie he purchased from a bakery, but repeatedly referred to as ours. Marin sent 11 messages between Wednesday night and Thursday morning. Does anybody have a gravy boat? Why do we own objects shaped like boats for gravy? Trevor bought cocktail napkins instead of dinner napkins. Is noon too early to start the rolls? Ignore that last question. I started them. At 11, she sent a photograph of a pan containing 12 dough lumps of different sizes. Noah examined it. Those rolls look frightened. They can sense the oven, I typed. They'll be fine. Marin responded, that's what Mom said about the bamboo robe. The joke surprised a laugh out of me. At 2:15, Noah carried the turkey to the car with the concentration of a man transporting a donor organ. I held the front door. Don't tilt it, I said. I know. The juices will run. You are not in charge of the turkey. I'm in charge of the upholstery. He settled the pan inside a cardboard box in the cargo area and wedged dish towels around it. See? He said. Competence. 1 speed bump from poultry disaster. Get in the car, Elise. Marin lived in a narrow brick townhouse with Trevor. There were 3 steps to the front door and no handrail. Dad stood below Mom with both arms out while she climbed using her cane. If you hover any closer, I'm going to ride on your back, she told him. I'm spotting you. You're breathing on my coat. Trevor opened the door. Happy Thanksgiving. He wore a green sweater, an apron, and the stunned expression of someone who had discovered that hosting dinner involved owning trash bags. The house smelled like butter, rosemary, and something burning. Marin appeared from the kitchen holding an oven mitt. Is the turkey here? Hello to you, too, Noah said. Hello. Is the turkey here? In the car. Why is it in the car? Because I drove it. She pointed the oven mitt toward the kitchen. The rolls are getting dark on top, but they're wet underneath. Foil, Mom said. I used foil. Did you tent it? I covered it. You have to make a tent. It's aluminum, Mom. It doesn't know architecture. Dad carried in the folding chairs. I brought the potatoes and green beans. Marin looked at the dishes in my hands, and for half a second I saw the old expectation cross her face. I would enter the kitchen, inspect the timing, rearrange the stove, and begin issuing calm instructions. Instead, I handed her the potatoes. Where do you want these? She blinked. Anywhere. That's not a location. On the counter. No, wait, the warming tray. Did Dad bring the trays? I brought 2, Dad said from the hall. Where are they? In the hall. I need them in here. Dad looked at me automatically. Then he picked them up himself. Noah brought in the turkey. Trevor found a carving board, though it was smaller than the bird. Mom sat at the kitchen table and supervised the rolls from a distance. Turn the pan, she said. Marin turned it. Other way. There are only 2 ways, and you chose the wrong one. I took off my coat and hung it in the closet. Can I get anyone a drink? Trevor asked. Dad requested a beer. Mom wanted sparkling water with ice, but no lemon. Noah asked for whatever Trevor was having. Trevor looked at me. Wine, I said. Marin glanced over her shoulder. Red or white, whatever's open. She studied me as if I were being difficult by not being difficult. White, she decided. The dining table did seat 4. Dad positioned 2 folding chairs at either end, creating a shape more hexagon than rectangle. The tablecloth came up 3 inches short on one side. Mom pulled it until the opposite side became shorter. "It doesn't fit," Marin said. "It's close. You're making it crooked." "I'm centering it." "No, you're transferring the problem." Dad held up both hands. No one touched the cloth. Mom frowned, but she stopped. For the next hour, Marin moved continuously. She checked the rolls, reheated the stuffing, searched for a serving spoon, and realized she had not put butter on the table. Trevor opened and closed the refrigerator 6 times without finding it. "Door shelf," Marin said. "It's not there. It's behind the mustard." I looked. She opened the refrigerator and removed the butter from behind the mustard. He kissed her cheek. "You're incredible. Go sit down." She was sweating near her hairline. One gold hoop kept catching on the apron strap. She complained about everything, but she did not ask me to fix any of it. I wanted to help, not from guilt, not entirely. I loved her, and she looked overwhelmed. I picked up the basket of silverware. "Do you want me to set these out?" Her shoulders lowered. "Yes, thank you. It was one job," she had asked. I could do one job without turning into a cautionary tale. I set the table. At 3:20, we sat down. The rolls were dark on top, wet nowhere, and better than any of us expected. The turkey was moist. The stuffing had too much sage. Dad's purchased pie waited on the counter wearing its bakery label despite his attempt to remove it. Marin looked around the table. "Is everything okay?" "It's delicious," Mom said. "The potatoes are cold," Dad said. Everyone stared at him. "What?" he asked. "They're good, just cold." "They're on a warming tray," Marin said. "The tray wasn't plugged in," Trevor said. Marin closed her eyes. I looked beneath the sideboard. The cord lay coiled on the floor. "I can fix it," Dad said quickly. He got up, plugged in the tray, and returned to his seat. Mom took a bite of turkey. "This is very good, Noah, thank you. You should teach Elise how you did it." Noah looked at me. "I know how to roast a turkey," I said. "I didn't say you didn't. You suggested I needed instruction. I suggested he has a good method." Marin picked up her wine. "I would like to formally ban subtext from my home until dessert." Trevor lifted his glass. I second the motion. Dad raised his beer. "All in favor?" Every hand went up, including Mom's. Dinner became easier after that. Dad told a story about accidentally walking into the wrong physical therapy room and joining a shoulder rehabilitation class for 5 minutes. Mom denied that it happened exactly as he described. Trevor admitted he had purchased cocktail napkins because the package showed drinks, and he thought that meant they were absorbent. "They're the size of postage stamps," Marin said. "Very elegant postage stamps." We laughed. For several minutes, I watched my family from one end of the oddly shaped table. Mom's cane rested against the wall. Dad had gravy on his sleeve. Marin's rolls filled a chipped blue bowl from our childhood home. Nothing looked balanced, but everything remained upright. After pie, Mom pushed back from the table. "That was lovely," she told Marin. Marin's face changed. The compliment struck somewhere tender. "Really? Really?" The stuffing was salty. "Too much sage," Dad corrected. "Ron," Mom said. "What?" I ate it. Trevor began stacking plates. Mom looked toward me. "Elise, would you help clean the kitchen?" The request was so ordinary that no one reacted at first. I looked at the table. 6 plates, serving dishes, wine glasses, the turkey pan, 3 pots, and an entire counter covered in the evidence of dinner. Cleaning it would take less time if I did it. I knew where to begin. I could already see the order. "No," I said. Mom blinked. "No? I brought potatoes and green beans." I set the table. "I'm going to sit for a while." "You're just sitting there." "Yes." Marin went still. Mom's face tightened. "I wasn't asking you to do it alone. I know. I'm saying I'm not doing it." Dad put both hands on the table and stood. "I'll help," he said. Noah rose beside him. "Me too." Trevor lifted the stack of plates. I was already helping. Everyone wants a medal, Marin muttered. She stood and gathered the serving bowls. I expected resentment to flood the room. It came, but it did not drown anyone. Mom adjusted herself in her chair. The men carried dishes into the kitchen. Marin followed with the stuffing and rolls. I remained at the table. Mom looked at me for a long moment. "You could at least bring your plate," she said. I picked up my plate. That I can do. I carried it to the kitchen, set it beside the sink, and returned to sit with her. From the next room came running water, the clatter of dishes, and competing instructions. "Not that pan," Marin said. "It has to soak." "I know how soaking works," Dad replied. "Trevor, those glasses don't go in the dishwasher. Why do we own a dishwasher if nothing goes in it?" Noah laughed. Mom listened. "He's doing too much," she said. "Who?" "Your father. He's washing dishes. He cooked all week while I recovered. And now he knows how." She looked toward the kitchen. Dad stood at the sink while Marin dried. Noah wrapped leftovers. Trevor attempted to fit containers into the refrigerator. Mom said, "I never asked you to do everything." "No, you just did it." "Yes." There was no accusation in my answer. Somehow that made her eyes drop. "I liked knowing you would," she said. The honesty surprised me. "I know." She touched the edge of the tablecloth. "It made things easier. For you, yes, and harder for me." She nodded once. It was not an apology. It was more than she had said before. Marin appeared in the doorway holding a damp dish towel. "Mom, Dad wants to know where you put the pie. I didn't put it anywhere. You were the last person near it. I have a cane. How far do you think I took it?" Dad called. "Found it." Marin closed her eyes. "Where?" "In the microwave." Trevor shouted, "That was me." She returned to the kitchen. Mom smiled faintly. "She did a nice job." She did. I worried she'd be overwhelmed. She was. "You could have helped more." I turned my head. Mom lifted one hand. I know. The cleanup took 40 minutes. No one broke anything. Dad loaded the dishwasher incorrectly according to Marin, correctly according to gravity. Noah packed the remaining turkey into containers. Trevor found lids for almost all of them. When the counters were clean, Marin stood in the middle of her kitchen looking exhausted and pleased. "You hosted Thanksgiving," I said. "I need a larger table. Don't make permanent decisions in temporary pain." She recognized her own words from the apartment night. Her face softened. Mom and Dad left first. Dad helped Mom down the steps while Noah carried the folding chairs to their car. Trevor took a bag of trash outside. I found my coat in the closet. "Elise," Marin said behind me. I turned. She twisted the damp dish towel between her hands, though the cleaning was finished. "Can you stay 5 minutes?" Noah came back through the front door. He looked from her to me. "I'll wait in the car," he said. Marin watched him leave. Then she looked at me. "I need to tell you why I use the porch light," she said. Marin folded the dish towel into a square, opened it, then folded it again. "When you said no about the surgery, I felt like Noah had given you permission. He didn't. I know that now. You knew it then." She looked at the towel. "I knew you were the one speaking, but you'd said no to me before. You always came back and figured something out, so you didn't believe me. I thought you were making a point. Then he backed you, and suddenly it felt final. Because a man agreed with me. Because you had somewhere safe to go after saying it." The answer settled between us. Marin placed the towel on the counter. "When we were younger," she said, "you could be furious with me, but you still left the light on. You'd tell me I was selfish, you'd lecture me the whole time I was washing my face, but you opened the door, because you had made me your alibi. I know. You know now." "Yes." Her voice was quiet. I waited. She looked toward the front window. Noah sat in our car beneath the streetlight, his face lit faintly by his phone. He had given us privacy without disappearing. "Every time you started saying no to the family, I thought he was leaving the light on for you," Marin said. "Like you could walk away from us because you knew he would still open the door." I stared at her. "That's why you told him not to?" She nodded. You wanted him to stop being safe for me. The shame on her face answered before she did. Yes. The word was barely audible. Something inside me went still. Not the old silence where I gathered evidence and waited for the perfect moment. This was the stillness of finally reaching the bottom of something. You tried to make my husband afraid I would leave him, I said, so he would make it harder for me to leave you. I didn't think of it that clearly. But that was the plan. Yes. And you used the apartment listings because you knew they would scare him. Yes. I looked away. I'm sorry, she said. I had heard those words from her before. This time, she did not rush to fill the space after them. For what, I asked. For sending the email. For making something from 4 years ago sound like it was happening now. For taking what you told me that night and using it because I was angry. Her voice broke, but she continued. I'm sorry I made Noah question whether he knew his own marriage. I'm sorry I used our phrase like it belonged to me more than it belonged to you. And I'm sorry I acted like your saying no was something being done to me. The apology did not fix anything. It did something more modest and useful. It reached the thing she had actually broken. I leaned against the wall beside the closet. Thank you, I said. Marin's eyes lifted. That's all? What else do you want? I don't know. You apologized. I heard you. Do you forgive me? I exhaled. Not in the way you mean. What way do I mean? The way where I say yes and tomorrow we go back to telling each other everything. Her face tightened. I didn't ask for that. You were about to. She looked down. I believe you're sorry, I said. That matters. But I don't trust you with my marriage right now. I understand. You say that, but I need you to actually understand. Noah is not another root to me. You don't call him because you think I'm being unfair. You don't ask him to translate me. You don't warn him about me. I won't. And what I tell you privately stays with you. Yes, if you think I'm doing something harmful, you say it to me. Directly. Before you're angry enough to make it cruel. She rubbed her palms against her pants. Are you going to do the same? The question irritated me, which probably meant it was fair. What do you mean? If I disappoint you, tell me when it happens. Don't order flowers for 4 years and then use the receipt as proof that I'm a terrible daughter. I didn't use a receipt. You know what I mean. I did. I can do that, I said. Can you? I can try. She nodded. Me too. The refrigerator motor started behind us. From somewhere upstairs came the sound of a floorboard creaking. The entire house seemed to have relaxed now that dinner was over. Marin looked toward the table. When Mom asked you to clean, I thought you were trying to embarrass me. I thought about cleaning before she asked. I knew you did. How? You were staring at the dishes like they had insulted you. They were badly stacked. They were plates. There was no system. She smiled faintly. I kept waiting for you to come into the kitchen and take over, I know. Part of me wanted you to. I know that, too. And then Dad got up. He's become very interested in his own abilities. He told Trevor the dishwasher was loaded wrong. It probably was. It was. We both laughed, but the laugh faded quickly. Marin touched the back of one of the folding chairs Dad had forgotten to take. I hated the whole week before this, she said. Mom called 6 times about serving dishes. Dad brought the chairs 2 days early, then took them home because he thought they were in the way. Trevor bought enough cocktail napkins for 1 drink per person. I heard. I wanted to call you. Why didn't you? Because I knew you'd help. That's usually why people call. No. I knew you'd help, and then I'd resent you for seeing that I needed it. The honesty surprised me. I might have resented you for asking, I admitted. That's healthy. We're making progress. She pulled out the chair and sat. Do you think I'm selfish? Yes. Her head snapped up. You think I keep score, I said. You do. You are selfish sometimes. I keep score sometimes. Those things can be true without being the only true things about us. She considered that. I think you like being the good daughter, she said. I did. Did? Some days I still do. Mom looks at you differently. How? Like you're the person who knows what to do. She looks at you like you're the person worth protecting. Marin's expression changed. I didn't ask for that, she said. Neither did I. We sat with it. For years I had believed Marin wanted the family arrangement exactly as it was. Maybe she had. Maybe wanting it and being trapped by it were also things that could be true at the same time. I hated when Mom told you the robe was beautiful, I said. Marin blinked. It was beautiful. It was a falling hazard. Denise fixed it. Denise saved a life. She smiled. I knew you hated it. You were sitting on the sofa making a playlist while I stocked toilet supplies. I thought you liked stocking things. No one likes stocking things. You color-coded the linen closet. That's different. It is absolutely not different. I laughed, and this time the laugh stayed longer. Marin's eyes filled again. I really do miss you. I miss you too. Can I still call you? The question sounded younger than she was. Yes. What if I need something? You can ask, and you can say no. I can say no. She nodded, but uncertainty remained in her face. I leaned forward. Call because you want me. Call because you want to tell me something or because you don't want to be alone. But don't call after you've already made a mess and decided I'm responsible for keeping anyone from seeing it. No more alibis. And if I'm actually in trouble, then tell me the truth. I'll decide what I can do. That sounds very conditional. It is. She looked wounded for a second. Then she nodded. Okay. I stood. She stood too. Neither of us seemed to know what came next. Marin opened her arms halfway, making the hug a question. I answered it. She held me tightly. Her hair smelled like the perfume sample she still applied, as if the department store believed in her. I felt her take one uneven breath against my shoulder. The hug was familiar. The agreement beneath it was not. When we separated, she wiped her cheek. Don't tell anyone I cried, she said. I'm no longer providing cover. That was fast. I put on my coat. She walked me to the door. Outside, Noah looked up from his phone, but remained in the car. Elise? I turned. I really am sorry. I know. It was not the same as saying everything was fine. That was why she believed me. Noah started the car as I climbed in. Warm air blew from the vents. How did it go? He asked. She apologized. For real? For real? He waited. I told her I believe she's sorry, but she doesn't get access to our marriage. Good. I also told her she can still call me. Also good. You're very agreeable. I've learned that sometimes you want support more than analysis. Is that a complaint? An observation. Sharp observation. He smiled and pulled away from the curb. At home, the kitchen still smelled faintly of turkey from Noah's morning work. The roasting pan soaked in the sink. You left it soaking? I asked. Yes. For 8 hours? Some things require time. That pan has entered a new geological age. I'll wash it. I opened my mouth. Then I closed it. Noah noticed. That looked painful. It was growth. He washed the pan. I put away the dishes he handed me. He passed a bowl. I placed it in the cabinet. He gave me a plate. I stacked it. Neither of us corrected the other. When the kitchen was clean, he took out his phone. The email is still in my inbox, he said. I looked at the screen. The subject line remained where it had been since that morning. You deserve to know? Do you want to read it again? He asked. No. He deleted it. Trash too, I said. I knew there would be a system. He emptied the folder. Upstairs, I removed the silver earrings he had given me and placed them in the small dish beside the bed. Noah changed clothes while I washed my face. My phone buzzed on the counter. A message from Dad. Left one chair at Marin's. We'll get it tomorrow. Your mother says dinner was lovely. A second message arrived from Mom. Thank you for not making today harder than it needed to be. It was not exactly gratitude. From her, it was close. I replied, I had a nice time. Love you. Then Marin sent a photograph of the damp dish towel folded neatly on her clean counter. Kitchen survived. I wrote, so did we. 3 dots appeared, then vanished. She sent a red heart. I turned my phone face down. Downstairs, I noticed light spilling through the curtains. We had left the porch light on when we went to Marin's. For most of my life, that light had meant someone might arrive needing a door opened, an excuse supplied, a consequence softened before morning. Noah stood at the bottom of the stairs. Coming up? In a minute. I walked to the front window. No car waited at the curb. No shadow crossed the porch. Everyone I loved was in a house of their own, responsible for the night they had made. I flipped the switch. Then I went upstairs in the dark.